Mm.
Welcome to Propeller Live Forum. Today is March 13. Topics today. Okay, so I thought we would take just a brief look at OBEX because we've been doing some work on that. And I know Steven's posted some stuff there. And we will have Chip talk about what he's doing with Spin 2 and the work with Steven. And then anything of interest from the community here, any support issues? I heard some discussion about debug. If you want to just yell it out, we can make sure we get all these things covered. I see Johnny Mack. He's been at the Skeleton Trans World show this last week. I'm sure he has some fun things to say. Okay, so agenda sounds good to everybody?
Sure.
Oh
Okay.
no, they're pushing an agenda.
Yeah.
It's an agenda for your interests, though, with you in mind. Okay, so Stephen, tell us how your recent
Actually, Ken, would you let me go second, please? I'm still getting one or
you
two things
bet.
ready. Thank you.
Okay, so should we finish the debug question that was posed before record, or was that handled already?
Yeah, we can talk about that. So there's some need for having some kind of like scoped debug control. You know, I don't know, there's a bunch of ways to do it. So it sounds like Flex Spin does something like assigns by object, right?
Yes, you can. It just looks like this, right? We have to enable the button, or we're very slow today again. Very normal. It looks like this.
Nice. Okay, debug disabled equals true.
Yep, and that's all that really needs to be there because it's not bigger.
Yeah, that's really easy to do.
And that's very easy, and you can override it in the instantiation, and that basically took like no effort to add, so that was what was added.
Okay.
And if this is true in the object, all the debugs just get eliminated. Can we find one? There we go. This one would be firing every time for the weird one. And this one's commented out. Anyways, perhaps not the best example, but there's a lot of debugs in here. They're very necessary to tell when something goes wrong with the USB driver. So many things can go wrong here. And like this bizarre thing where we try to get a string because otherwise some devices don't initialize themselves if you don't ask for string first.
Now that setup, it disables all debug statements.
Exactly. If you go to debug disable, it just no more debug in the entire object.
Within that object.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's a good feature to have.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking it'd be nice is that because I have debugs all through, and maybe in an area, okay, I'm done debugging this area, just turn off debug for that function, or without having to.
Yeah, more.
So I can go debug another section without getting rid of the debug statements.
Okay, so yes, so per method.
Yeah, there you go.
We could also do something like just have different debug statements like debug 1, debug 2, debug 3, and then have a mask that you can set to say which sets of debugs to allow.
I've seen that before.
We could have debug 0 through debug 7.
Yeah, I could probably do that, and then that becomes like a bit mask of which ones to disable.
Right. That's nice.
And of course, because true is -1, it would disable all of them.
Oh, yeah. Or 0.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to think on that, Chip?
Oh no, you know what? We could use -1 because we could have straight the normal word just debug be like one that always runs. You have to do -1 to shut that one off, but then you could gate all the others. Okay, so there's lots of ways to do this. So there's just
Yeah.
issues about we maybe need object level and then even method level. And maybe dat section level too.
I mean, for that sections, you can, what we've got here is this if-end structure here, where there's a constant expression in here, and then everything that's in here may or may not get actually assembled into the that section.
Man, that font reminds me of Halloween.
Kind of a fun font.
Hmm.
Yeah, call looks like Kaz.
Yeah, it's a very strange font.
Okay,
Chip,
well,
you want to go into data structures, or Stephen, OBEX?
Chip, go ahead and take data structures, and then I'll be ready.
data structures. Okay, so we've been contemplating this for a long time, you know, putting data structures into the spin language but necessity is the mother of invention. So I was working on a compiler that could run on the chip, and I started to have all these like sets of variables that were similar, that were kind of indexed. And I thought, gosh, this is like a real mess, and they have too many names. So it's time to think about structures. So we kind of hashed this out with people on the forum, and we came up with a way to do it. So let me pull up. Let me start doing the screen share here thing. Let me get my file up. Oh, okay. So I posted a new zip file on the forum so anybody could get it. All right, share screen. Here we go. All right. Okay, so let me open the file here. Here we go. Okay, so I assume you guys can see this. I'll shrink it up so it gets a little bigger on your screens. So this is a little example program I made. It's not super thought out, this example, but it just demonstrates like instances of structures and structure pointers. So the way this thing works, let me drag this whole thing down where I can see it better. Let me move the screen off here. Okay, so within the con section, we can define structures. And there, I used the con because I thought there was some desire of some to have this be part of OBJ, but I don't think it rose to the level of significance of OBJ. So I just figured it's just a way to define a data structure. It's not an object, which is a whole nother animal. So I thought about using the con section. So if you emit a name in a con section, it's going to be a variable, right? But now there was no case where you would have had a parenthesis. So now if it sees some unknown variable name followed by a parenthesis, this is going to be a structure definition. So in this case, I kind of made a little thing here where I started the structures with S's and the structure pointers with P's. So this is like a structure for a point, and it has 2 bytes. It has a byte X and a byte Y. And then I made like a line structure, which has point A, point B, and then a byte, which is color. So if you see how all this stuff is always working, is just like you could put byte in front of a variable name as you declare things. When you put the name of a structure, it knows that you're saying something of that type. So this is S point, right? This uses byte. So you could make, there's no limit to the level of nesting you can do here. And any of these things could be arrayed. Like you could say, I want 25 of these. And you could even array it at this level too, you know, if you wanted 4 point Bs. So it's very flexible. Anyway, once you've defined, your structures, and I here, did 2 so that I'd have a nested one. So I repeat point twice and have a color. And then I just made a variable, a constant called line count. So here I instantiate 100 of these structures. So just like this could have been byte, word, or long, it's now the name of a structure. So it's kind of like a new way of doing variables, where if you precede a variable name with a structure name, it's instead of byte, word, long, or the assumption that it's long, it says, oh, we're going to have whole structures here. So it's saying line, and I want 100 of them, or line count of them. And then I start up in this little demo here, I start a little plot window up so I can do something. And then I load up, in sequence, I load up all these line structures. So I set the points, and I could have even, called off with just A and passed lines sub I dot A to someone, and he could have worked on a structure of type S point that would just involve the X and Y. But I broke it all out here, so you can see the nomenclature is, the structure variable name or the structure pointer name. They look the same. Any index, and then dots separate the members, and with each dot you just send further into the hierarchy. And at any level here, you could put you could put an index at any level, but it should be commensurate with your structure declaration, so it all works. Anyway, here I set point A and point B, and then I give a random color, and then I call draw lines, which is right down here, and I just say I say give it line. Now, when a structure is just used like a variable, just dropped like that, it returns the address of the structure. Because if you think about it, a structure only has data when you come to the terminus, where you actually have like, a byte or a long or a word. If you have just another structure, there's really no data there yet. You're just descending in a hierarchy. So if you put any kind of structural hierarchy thing down, I could also do like line.a, because A isn't data until you put .x or .y, right? Hold on a sec. Someone's here for me. Just a minute. Yeah.
So talk amongst yourselves. Life happens.
Yeah, it's our chance to chat. What do we think of what we see so far from Chip?
Well, I think I've posted it in the forum already. There's a problem when you can't take the structure as its own thing that can move around. If you only can refer to it by a pointer, you kind of have a problem that it's basically useless unless your program is awfully structured.
Why do you say that, Ada? Let's hold that. Chip's back. Let's talk after.
Okay. All right. So sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, hold the thought, Ada. I'll just finish this little explanation here. So anytime you express something that does not resolve all the way down to data, be it byte, word, or long, then it just sits here as a read-only address, right? So it's sort of like the equivalent of having done this. But I didn't want to like overload structure usage with that everywhere. So that's the rule. So if you name a structure that does not resolve to a piece of data, it's just a read-only address.
Yeah, but that's awful.
What's that?
That's awful. For one, it's inconsistent. You need the add there because you're taking the pointer. And what if I want to dump the structure into the argument list for the function?
Well, what it would do is it would cause a lot of things to need a lot of cruft around them. Now there's, for example, let me just say, you can at any point call a structure just by, struct dot member, right? Now, now what was I getting at? I lost my train of thought here. Okay, so let's say that you only have an address. Let's say that somebody gave me an address, just an address, and it's not typed to any structure. It's just an address, and I'm supposing there is some known type of structure there. What I would have to do is I'd have to use this kind of syntax. I'd say S line. Now that's the name of the structure, right? And then I would put the address in here, and then I would put any index, and then I would put, you know, whatever else.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the normal thing. But what I'm thinking of is we don't want to pass the address. That doesn't need to ever exist as a structure in a sort of memory that's constant. You only want to pass maybe a structure that consists of two longs into a function, and it doesn't want to reference back to the original because maybe it was going to do something with it, and then it has to make its own copy, and it's very complicated and takes a lot of time, and it's basically awful. The other thing is, can you actually create the structure in the local memory? Because if it can't be an argument,
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, you can declare. You can declare up here. You can say like you could say S line and say I want one called T and I want 10 of them. It would instantiate.
Yeah, that's good.
Space right there, and then you could also say I want, and we can change this. I know you don't like this caret, but you can also say a pointer to a type S line, and I want to call that PT.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's a very important thing to have.
Yeah, now I saw your comments on the forum this morning, and I was thinking that we actually can. It's pretty easy for me to actually pass whole structures as long as they're not too big, because
yeah, if they're too big, it overwhelms the registers. There aren't enough.
Yeah, it's like no point. So what we can do, we can return up to 15, 0 to 15 return values, and for parameters we can have 0 to 127. So there's a lot
that's
of
actually a lot of
there.
things. Yeah, that's good. That's you should just make it so that you can put the entire thing in there.
Well, we should be able to do both, right? Because
of course, both is important. It's important to have both.
And so what'll happen is then you would have let's see, what would that look like when you receive something that gives you a structure? You would just say I'd have like in this case it would be line. If you got two of them back, you could say like you know, line 0, comma, line 1 equals, and then whatever the method name is, right?
Something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's very easy to add. So I'll work on that next. So right now I just have it so you can pass pointers to structures. So
yeah, but then you have the issue that you have to distinguish between, am I getting the data or am I getting a pointer to the data? That's why you have to put the add there, I think.
Yes. So the way I'm handling that right now is if a method is to receive a parameter that is a pointer to a structure, what you do is you put a caret and then the structure definition name followed by a variable you want named. And then you go, well, that's it. So then once you're inside here, P line becomes something just like the actual structure was here. See, there's no difference in the way the usage looks between an actual structure.
Yeah, I see that.
And a pointer. Because the otherwise,
thing is,
go ahead.
There's some other things that are probably kind of, because sometimes you want to maybe instantiate one inline. Like if I want to say I want to set the structure of these 3 values, sometimes you have to put that over 3 lines. But if if you're passing a value into a function, you'd have to be able to do that in that 1 line. Otherwise, you'd have to instantiate it somewhere else. It's probably hard to explain that.
Yeah. No, we can do that. I mean, we could have we could even do something like rather than pointer, if we wanted to be, when I make it so we'll pass whole structures, it'll just be without the caret, right? That means
but now if I have if you say it's a point and I have 2 values that I want to pass as a point, I'd need to have a syntax to be able to create the point on the fly instead of having to create a separate point variable in the caller and then assigning the point.
Like if you just want to pass a point?
If I want to pass a point, but I only have 2 variables that aren't in a point structure.
Well, you could do that just by saying just change this to S point, and then call it. call it with like, well, like this is here.
Yeah, but what if I have, well, in this case, what if I have a function that takes an S point, but I only have two separate variables that I want to turn into a point? I need a syntax to do that inside the parameter list.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to, let's see, I'm not totally visualizing
You
that.
want to do initialization in the call of the point. Am I understanding, Ada?
Yeah, exactly. That's you need to be
Well,
able to assign them as around as values like that, so that.
all right, so it would just look like this. You'd say like, you'd have the actual structure name, not the pointer thing.
Yeah, okay, you'd have this, but now I want to call this function, but I do not have an S point already. I just have an X and a
Oh,
Y
you want to like on the fly formulate an S
Right.
point.
Initialize, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So that could be something like this, where we just say, you know,
Yeah, something like that, but obviously it would have to be not in there. It would be in the other place.
yeah, because I think if we,
What do you mean not in there, Ada?
But it wouldn't be in the function definition.
Oh, correct. Yes, thank you. Versus a call. Yeah, take the pry off, Chip, of that line. There you go.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
I
what it
got you,
would.
right.
And now
That's
you
what
can
it would
take off
look
the
like.
local parms too, because there won't be local parms there.
I see. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'll remember that. That's good. Let me reload this file before I have it totally hosed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, do
that
not
needs to
save the
happen.
changes. Reload. Is this one? Okay, good. This still compiles. Okay, good points.
Risk
Yeah,
of demos.
I'll add. Yeah, if we run this thing, it's doing this. It's just randomly picking 100 lines. And let's see, I close this. So this is, you guys understand this? This is like, I want this parameter to be a pointer to line. I want it to be called p line. But then once you're in here, see if we did everything with ats, this would wind up looking more like it would look
Well,
like.
you don't need the add down there. You just need the add to get the pointer from the value. So you only need it in the call.
In the invocation to draw lines, you'd put an at there, where you're first calling draw lines. That's what Ada's saying.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why you need an add. And I guess you could also use the add for the pointer type, because it's kind of like just make that the character for pointers, right? That's sort of the consistency.
Yeah, what do you guys think about this? So Ada does not like that.
I hate these characters. They're weird to type.
Yeah, I don't like that one because that tells me address of very clearly, and that's not what this is.
Well, it is literally an address of an S
yes,
line.
Yes, no. That says get the address of S line to me.
But S line is like just an idea.
Right. So that's not. I actually do like the caret saying this is pointer. What are we using for field pointer initialization?
We need to get Ada a better keyboard.
Really? No.
I mean, it's not a keyboard issue, it's a layout issue. I could disable the dead keys somewhere, but no one knows how to do that. You know how it is. If we went to this last time, the computers don't work if you want them to. And this is the default if you have a German keyboard. It just does this for you.
That's right, that's special.
You have to
Steven, what were you
double type
saying? I think I cut
Chip, I wanted to ask if I'm remembering correctly that when we're setting up, that we also use the same character when we're initializing field pointers and things. It's just the pointer declaration symbol, right?
This caret?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we've been
using that language.
The only other place we use it is when we do caret at to get a bit field value.
Bit field.
It's a bit range and a type, be it hub or register, and then byte,
also,
hub, byte, word long, or register.
Here's another stupid thing. Can you do multiple carets if you have a pointer to a pointer? This is dubiously useful, but I do it in C all the time. You can in C you can become a triple star programmer if you use the triple pointer.
You're messing with our heads.
Pointer to a pointer to a pointer.
Yeah, exactly. In C you can actually just
doesn't mean you should.
you can
Yes.
pile on the stars as long as you want. It's gonna make a
I
pointer to a
second that
pointer to a
opinion.
pointer to a pointer to a pointer. It sounds stupid, but it's very useful if you're operating on a data structure that's made up of pointers.
So look, it would be nice to be able to just go like this, and then say, or something, right? Or no, never mind. Never
Nope.
mind.
Well, it would have to be
That's the
an
wrong,
equals.
it would be like this. It would be S line. And this would resolve to a S point.
What? You have to do something with it there. You
really
can't.
a point.
You're out of context declaring it there. You have to do something with it.
Yeah. It would be like for constructing it. Well, really, we'd want to just say.
Oh yeah, but then we get another thing with the adds, right? If you write something like if you wanted to assign an entire point at once, then you'd have to. Right, then you have to assign it into a structure variable.
Yeah, this we could do something like this.
Yeah, but what if instead of passing it into a method, you assign it to a variable?
Oh yeah.
Now
so
you get the funny because now we've got the problem that I was talking about, right?
Like that.
Exactly, but now you have the problem that point is interpreted as a pointer, as it were.
No, because point would be up here as like S. It would be like.
Yeah, but what if you had a second point? Let's call it point for B or something.
We'd have to do another one.
And then you want to assign from point to point B. Now you've got a point A to point B or something like that.
Yeah, I actually made a. Yeah, then what you could do? Oh, okay.
Then
so
you have this sort of logical brain rot issue that comes up with that.
I made a special thing that would do that. You would just code it like this.
Ah, but that's stupid.
Wait.
That's weird and inconsistent.
This is how I do it. This is how I did it. This is part of the language now.
Wowee.
Because that can be any size. So what you're thinking of is something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how value assignment works.
Yes, the trouble is it gets tricky because I'd have to treat that as a special case of an instruction where you couldn't like do a buried assignment with it. There's a lot of things you can't do with that. It would just be
yeah. If you use the assignment as another value, then yeah, but wouldn't you kind of want to do it like that anyways?
No,
Because-
Ada, I'm questioning where the right now everything is passed by value, and that's the angle you're chasing, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. It has to be
do this.
consistent and it has to, work in a way where people will understand how it works, not
Yeah,
get
I
confused
understand.
by it.
But right now everything's passed by value because they're small items. It's routine that languages have a distinction between the size of the object and whether or not we automatically transition to pass by reference instead of pass by value.
Well, it's always passed by reference. I don't think there's any language that makes that non-explicit, except for ones like Java, where it's only references.
Yeah,
Which is horrible and awful.
No, Java's always value until it's a structured object and then it's reference. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bizarre thing with Java. It's kind of horrid and
To go back a little older, Pascal, I think if you try to do that, it's again passing by value, and you're limited to whatever the hardware value is.
The size of the object is limited. Yep.
Yeah, the assignment or the assignment equivalents are limited to whatever the maximum word size might be.
Right. That's a good point, Michael. Ada, on the in the passing by value, how do you feel about we're in an embedded environment, we're on an embedded processor. How do you feel about the turmoil that creates when you're passing all that data around in the stacks?
Well, you
And we're
wouldn't if
limited
it's a
to
big
very,
thing.
well, we're limited to very small stacks per cog, right? Unless we allocate more.
Yeah, but this actually reduces the total number of stack points. It does that. It doesn't create more stack where there wasn't before, really, unless you're passing like really big structures around, and it has to create a separate copy for every instance in the call stack. But you wouldn't do it. You would only do this for structures that are maybe kind of small, right? And otherwise, you'd maybe pass a pointer around.
So you're making the distinction then.
Yeah, you need to have both, because
well,
if you have
hold on,
if you only have one, it's horrible and awful.
Yeah, no. I need to clarify. So I'm trying to reason it through with you. So let me finish for a minute. So you're making a distinction in your mind's eye then that smaller structures you'll pass by reference because it's not a big load on the stack, by value, and then larger structures your pattern is to pass them by reference to reduce that load on the stack stack passing. Then, am I correct?
Yeah, that's how that works.
Okay, I'm trying to catch up to you to see what
I was actually writing some geometry vector matrix stuff the other day, and you'd pass the vectors in as a value, but the matrices, they are big and heavy,
Yes.
so you'd pass them as a reference. Also, because
Yes.
most functions that operate on the matrix, you want to change the matrix in place.
And hence by reference. And that also leads to, takes us back to your comment earlier in this presentation where you were worrying about the fact that by passing by reference, we'd be able to modify something that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, you can modify something that you didn't want to. Like your function that you call could accidentally modify the object that you're passing in with a reference, because it could do that.
Yes, of course.
Or worse yet, it's kind of hard to make that. You kind of have to store back values all the time if you want to get a reference to them, because the reference has to be the hub RAM. So this isn't as big of a deal with the interpreter, but if you have to have a compiler going, you really want to avoid storing things into hub RAM and reading them back. More importantly, reading them back, because that's a 9-cycle instruction at least, right? And that's horrible, and you want to avoid it in every case possible.
Interesting, yes.
So if you pass the value, you can just move stuff into registers. It's all very nice. And as if you have to read it from memory, it's like the whole program grinds to a halt as that happens.
So part of your reasoning then, I'm learning. So part of your reasoning then is that you're thinking through the performance behind the scenes for the P2 and how it's going to be much more efficient if we do pass by value the small structures.
Yes, exactly.
Ada, one thing I saw you were doing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm fine. I was just acknowledging.
So in the code for FlexSpin, you do a read fast, like an RF long, and then you add to your pointer another RF long. Well, what you can do.
It's RD long, not RF long. It doesn't use the RF long because it's in hub exec, right?
Okay, it uses the RD long. Because if you have contiguous data in memory, you could use setq and then RD long, and it's only like the 9 cycles plus 1 for plus 1.
Yes, but the problem is that to do that, you'd have to read it into a contiguous set of registers, which is, well, that's only in this very simple example that happens, that we read them in order. That's just the simplicity of the example showing through. But we all read them into the same register. But more importantly, it's actually very difficult to make sure that everything is in order. I think there's, like, the code related to that is kind of a whole mess. I think there could be some stuff, but the only way that the setq is used right now is actually to for memory fills.
Well, these are packed. I mean, this is like a packed structure, right? There's no gaps or alignment or anything. It's just like here we have 2 bytes, 2 byte, well, 2 bytes, 2 bytes, and then a byte. So
Yeah.
that would be 2 longs, right? And it's contiguous. So to load structures into parameter lists, I could just do a set q plus read long.
Yeah, you just blast it in there. I think it's fine to make sure that if you want to pass the value around and don't want it to generate, well, I mean, for the interpreter, it wouldn't be horrible. The interpreter can index anything. But if you stuff it into registers, you kind of get a bit of a weird thing when you want to access the unaligned values. So maybe just, I think that's a reasonable restriction, that if the values end up unaligned, that it becomes horrible. But otherwise you can just, get word and set word and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can definitely pass things by value. That's not a problem at all. And return things by value, and then have some like setups. Like for something like this, we could say, like we could reduce something like this. We could say s point, right?
Yeah, that.
Okay, so that would be useful, and that then we could also construct things on the fly as we're passing them in argument lists or parameter lists.
And that's kind of where you have to think a little bit, because that sort of generalizes that if you want to move a structure from one variable to another, you use the assignment operator.
Yeah. Yeah, the assignment operator.
And that means you need to use the @ if you want to get the pointer.
Yeah, it helps sort out that. It helps clarify that issue.
Yeah, if you think about it, it kind of has to work like that. I think people have tried to build new programming language for a lot of time, and that's generally what they end up with, that sort of idea. It kind of works.
This could also be used in some fashion for DAT, because I don't have
that should be in the DAT section as well, of course.
Right.
For initialization.
Right.
Maybe make it so that the names of the interior structures could be omitted.
Yes, money.
I think C does that. Yeah. If you want to instantiate an S line, you don't have to call out that it's an S point. You could just use the parentheses.
Is it 240?
Right.
Okay, thanks.
240, right?
Yeah, 240. Yeah, thanks.
So Ada, you might want to say that again.
If you're constructing an S line, how would you construct the S points in there? You don't want to say S point every time, right?
Oh, yeah.
You just want to use just the parentheses.
Okay, yeah. Steven and I were talking about this the other day. Okay, what we could do is something like this. If we look at the line structure, S line structure is point A, point B. So you could do.
Yeah, like that. Maybe you need it for the initial thing, because then otherwise we have to guess what the type of that value is in isolation, which is not very nice.
Right. So put the S line in front of that, in front of the first parent.
Oh, right. This would have to be S.
Yeah.
Line.
There you go.
Yeah, that's nice. That's very good.
Good. Okay.
Good. Okay.
Like mine, Zeta.
Yeah. I'll save this so I don't forget. Okay.
I really appreciate your detail in thinking through this and the performance issues. That's very cool.
Yeah. I just have.
Now, in a case like this, let's say we had like 32 out here, right, on the color. So what we could do, rather than you could do something like 0, 32. Whoops. Some value, and then you could repeat it at some, and the compiler knows that this is a byte, word, long, whatever, right? But what Steve and I were talking, what we could also do is things like, if you wanted to put a string in, you could do this. Oh, it might be like.
But wait, the string would be a pointer, right?
No, well, this would be like a different kind of use case where it would be
Yeah,
like,
but normally but you have to think about the internal consistency of it. If string means a pointer to a string, then putting that expression somewhere else shouldn't mean a different thing.
okay, well, we could do, well, we have to say that we want to, but here's the thing.
I think you can just put it
Sometimes-
without anything, right? Like a single character is already a byte constant. So maybe if you just put the quotes without the word string, it would just fill it into the bytes.
Okay, so, but what about, how do we do, what if we want it, can we meet size by doing something like this? Like,
Well, no, it can just pad it with zeros automatically.
oh, yeah, it could, but how does it? Okay, I guess because it's going to see another one of these comments. But what if you wanted to put like in there, you wanted to put like, you know, a tab or a 0 or something? I mean,
Well, I guess you'd have to put another parent around the array contents.
yes, yeah. So it would have to be right. So maybe then arrays would be treated just like
As parents.
as
Another structure.
yeah, as another structure, right? Oh, right, and that makes sense.
Yeah, the array is really just a structure with a number of elements, right?
Right.
Agreed. You need a closing final parent, but you're on that sounds good.
Yeah, then you can put any data in there, and it lays them out. It knows these are bytes, so it puts all the bytes in, and then when you get a closed paren, it 0 pads the remainder.
Yeah, that's
Okay
good.
with that. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, good. Well, that's cool. Oh, and then let's see, there'd be one more at the end of this.
Thank you. I've been sitting here nervously waiting for you to put that back.
Were you seeing a bunch of highlighted red?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. So we'll treat arrays as structures. What about though, what if point had like 5 things in it?
I have
Well,
to
then
walk
it's
away for a bit. I'll be right back.
That would have to be double parents
Oh,
because we've gotten
it would have to be like this.
yeah, like that exactly. It's double encapsulated.
Okay, and then there'd be another comment here. Yeah, that gets kind of crazy. Like, I don't know if anyone would want to bother to do that, but so we'd use parens. You know, here's another problem though. These might be equations that might have parentheses in them. But they're always going to be balanced. So what we'll do is we'll count parens. We'll go like a stack, like left paren means go up, 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 right paren means down, down, down. And we need to return if this is X, it has to be
I guess
X here.
Yeah, the other thing is maybe yeah, that kind of conflicts with expression syntax, so you'd have to use maybe a different symbol.
But maybe it wouldn't matter because see, anything that if this has parentheses at all, it's going to be like, it's going to have a balanced set. So if we're counting up with lefts, down with rights.
Yeah, I think
to
yeah, exactly.
This, we
you
know
can
we're
only
going
have
to
an expression if you're at the end of the chain, right?
Right. Yeah, so as long, I mean, they're going to have to balance. So that would work.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that'll I'll have to really, I had to think hard about how to do what we already did, but in the end it wound up not really being complex at all, but it was hard.
Now here's another brain twister. What if you have a variable that contains a point and you want to put it into one of these points there, into that array?
Well, you could actually say here, you could.
Well, that wouldn't have.
If you had a point structure,
wouldn't have the parents around it.
It would emit.
Right?
This would emit 2 bytes if it's a point structure.
Yeah, you'd actually have to remove the parents because we're not instantiating a new one. We're just copying one that already exists, right?
I guess so. Yeah, you could get rid of the parens. You're right.
Another option would be to start introducing 2-character parens, like parenthesis less than, greater than, right parenthesis.
Like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been done. It's not very pretty,
Right.
but
Oh,
it
that's a
it
chore.
it, it does give you some disambiguity.
Right.
Disambiguity.
Yes, disambiguation.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I never thought about doing that. That's kind of fun. Yeah, because the other day I was thinking, well, could we use these things? But then that means always indexing, and that's like,
And the curly brackets, we already
yeah,
spent them.
these are for comments. So yeah, interesting.
What is that meaning now? I'm sorry, I was away.
Oh,
Doesn't
this
mean
right here.
anything.
We could use these to denote sets.
Well, it gives you another set of parentheses when you have a limited character set.
Well, that's
That's all
dubious
it
in terms
does.
of typing.
Yeah,
I'd say.
and it drives visually, it can drive people crazy, but it's been used before. I think PL1 and some other languages, particularly when we had punch cards.
Hmm.
Yes. Did they develop any interventions for those that went crazy?
Early retirement.
Okay.
It's the same group that was playing with APL too, right?
Yeah, but have I now convinced you of the necessity of the @ sign when you want the pointer actually?
Well, the trouble is it would clutter up usage of. See, right now pointers, structure pointers look like structures in code, so it's kind of clean. But if we had to start,
Well, you wouldn't
like,
put it into every usage. You just if you say that call to draw lines, it would just gain an @ to add line.
Right. Go down to your draw lines.
The call there.
The call, the invocation. Right above the pry. There you go. And put
That's
an
the
@
only
sign
place
right.
you'd have to put the @ sign.
Put it right there at the L. Yep.
Yeah, that's much nicer because now you know you're passing the pointer.
That makes sense to me, Chip. Instead of passing, because now we have to denote passing by reference and passing by value.
right?
That to me says you're passing it by reference.
Yeah, we're getting
right.
the address of line.
Right. Since you declared it's a receiving pointer, you have to match it with passing by reference. Now, if you took S-line off, you took the @ sign off, and you took the caret off the two.
Then it would copy the entire line. Yeah.
Correct. Now you're passing by value.
Well, no, it doesn't work in this case because in this case it's a multi-pointer, right? In this case, it's getting indexed into.
Well, line is one of these structures.
And and we're passing multiple of them in an array, right?
Oh, well, that's what this was doing. It was just saying, yeah, the address of. Because see, here's the thing. If you just say line, there's no data there. Not until you go like.
Well, it's the first index in the array. That's the convention as it is, right? So line is equal to line with index 0, right?
Right.
And line is a data. Well, it is a data, right?
Well, there's no data until you do like .a.x or something.
Well, no, the
gets
entire
down
thing
to
can be a data. In fact, what if you want to make maybe a structure that fits into an entire long, right? You can just actually treat that as a long, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that's actually useful if you're doing something like a color, right?
Yes.
Right, RGB and alpha, yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd have that as a nice little structure that you can say, oh, this is a color, and we know it's a color. And we treat it as a single long because it's kind of that same size.
Right.
Very nice.
And so you see, but even if there's a big structure, it's still just a bunch of longs in memory, right? And that's
Right.
what, and that's the
Or a bunch
data
of
that's there. It's
bytes
like
anyway.
it's a multi-data thing, similar to when you call a function that has multiple return values, right? It's a single thing, but it's multiple things in it.
Yeah, Ada,
That's all very, and if you do it like that, it's all very orthogonal, right? It all works the same, and that's very important, I think. That there aren't like that if you change between things that are conceptually similar, that they work the same.
I'm
Right.
liking the at directive now that we're trying to distinguish between the two forms of passing. Then I think I'm with Ada in that the at directive is going to be necessary so we know when reference is being used.
Okay. So what should I do then if someone just says line? Is that going to be, because what I started out doing, because it wasn't exactly pointing to anything, it wasn't getting down to any data yet. I figured we'll just make it read only and make it the address of whatever. Like if you did this, this is an address too, right?
Well, if you just pass it, if you just use it like that, it's not useful. But if you want to say line n equals line n plus 2 or something like that, like you're gonna move them around a bit.
Right.
Well, you get a warning message that you're passing a pointer to a parameter that it's not supposed to be a pointer.
We could try to do that. Yeah. I mean, we could, there's some kind of limits. Yeah, as long as it doesn't get out of hand and too complicated, we can kind of sleuth stuff out. Some things are easy to detect, some things are more difficult.
Yeah.
So I haven't really put any such warnings in. So what should if someone does this, what should it do?
Well, that should do nothing. That's nonsense.
Well, then that's why I have it right now being just a read-only value.
Now hold on. Let's not. There are different things going on here. The read-only value of us is not a protection for what's really happening. In my mind, what you've got is an instance of line, and you're trying to increment a structure, and that doesn't make any sense. So syntactically,
unless you define operators for structures, but
correct.
That's a whole other
right. And so at this point in time, without having operators for structures, we should fail that as an instruction that doesn't make any sense. So
okay,
that should throw an exception, because it just isn't useful.
Right, that's the same as if you try to plus a constant that doesn't. What does that mean?
Right. You should say you expected whatever should come next, but not a plus plus.
Interestingly, if you want a plus a pointer, there's a certain usefulness to making it actually increment by the structure size.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, that's useful.
That would be like this.
Well, no, that's just incrementing the entire array, which is also
Well, it would
not the entire
increment.
array.
If you had p line down below and draw lines, and you incremented p line, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So putting them in as a declaration in spin code doesn't work. But when you have a pointer in hand and you want to increment the pointer, it'd be natural to think that it's going to increment by the size of what it's pointing to.
Well, it's kind of, I think that's kind of complicated. This works like that in C, but there's a kind of issue because the normal plus operator then also has to work like that, and that's kind of a headache.
Yes.
Because if you have the plus increment operator increments by something that's not one, the normal plus also would have to do that, and that's kind of.
You're saying a plus one or plus two for structures would overload by size.
And that's kind of complicated to do. So maybe it shouldn't do that. Maybe you'd have to manually increment it.
By having it just return, making it read only, it prevents misuse. You know, you can't do anything with it other than read it. I mean, I could make it so that you had to put this in front of it for it to mean something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's important, because normally you do that if you have just a long or regular one, you need that to get the address. So it has to be orthogonal, that if you want the address of a structure, you put the at in front of that.
Yeah.
This is getting complicated enough. I'm closing my eyes to think about it.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot to think about here.
I'm not sleeping over here. I'm just thinking hard.
This is Stephen and I have been kind of talking about this sort of stuff.
That was a nice evolution from what we talked about, though. So it's gotten better.
Yeah, this is cool because it can be implemented in DAT sections as well.
Yes. That section. We love the that section. It's my favorite section.
It's your favorite section?
Spends a lot of time in PASM.
Well, I was telling Stephen, you know, we're working on that TypeScript thing, and it's like all these things and all these scopes and all these enumerations and this, that, and objects, and is it by reference or is it by whatever? It's like my whole universe could exist in a uint8 array. I'd be happy there.
Yeah, but then, I mean, the memory is a uint8 array. You put the structure on top of it to make it less annoying to use.
Well, I know.
Right.
Then it becomes complicated again.
Yeah, if you make it too complicated, then it becomes too complicated.
Yes.
And then you sort of lose sight of what's actually happening down at the bottom level.
Yeah.
That's never good.
Well, yeah, in TypeScript, there's a lot of necessity to, you know, pull things into local variables and then inspect them. And so it creates a lot of, where sometimes it's like the idea gets lost amid hundreds of characters. But that's kind of, I just chalk that up to the modern way of things.
So this is looking good, Chip. Is there anything else you wanted to show us about it?
No, I think that's it. So I have some new stuff to do now, some things to work out. So I'm going to pass by, what do we call it?
Pass by reference versus pass by value.
Pass by value. That's what I was thinking. Yes. We got to pass by value and then do this at thing here, and then maybe change the way this works. I mean, the way this was working, where it was like just that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what you want to do if you want to just put the one thing into, put the line into the argument list.
Okay.
It's getting better.
All right, good. Well, thanks for all the input, you guys.
I did have one question, Chip, if I can
Of
ask
course.
about, could you return a structure or pointer to a structure?
Not at the moment, but we need, oh, you can return a pointer to a structure, certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, what you would do, let's say that draw lines return something, you would have a variable set up as a structure pointer, and you would just say, you know, var equals whatever the return, and that and this thing would be typed as a structure pointer. And so this would return a value, it would go right in there, and then it would have your pointer. And then you could just use the pointer.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions about any of that?
I just
But
want
we'll
to
have
make
to
a
see for the
comment
next iteration.
We say what? What, Ada?
We'll just have to wait for the next iteration, what the next version is gonna have.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to make the comment that I really appreciate you adding this into Spin. One of the projects that I worked on a while back was trying to convert some code to create QR codes. And every single instance in every example I could find, it was all done through structures. And trying to build those structures into Spin and be able to effectively migrate the code, my brain isn't there. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. I had to back away from it. I think this is going to really help actually bring that project to fruition.
Good. Yeah, by compartmentalizing variables, you reduce a lot of like what is it called when a room is like full of junk? It's just, what's that called? They're just like
Cluttered.
junk. Clutter. Yeah, it declutters things.
Yeah.
It declutters.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being interested.
Good job, Chip. We'll keep you for another week.
Good, good. Michael Green, it looks like you eat Omaha steaks.
Never have that I know of.
Oh, because I see all these boxes behind you. My parents
Oh,
did those.
Styrofoam containers, yeah.
that actually stores most of my parallax stuff.
Oh, I see. So you're decluttering. He's got data structures there.
I'm
That's it.
just hiding it.
Yeah.
I put mine in,
Encapsulation.
Michael, I put mine in colored bins.
Yeah, mine's in a bunch of see-through bins.
Well, we hook up a bunch of colored bins outside.
Well, how about if we
That's-
switch over
That's
then?
where we store all the stuff that's really valuable.
Let's talk about OBEX for a moment. But
Oh, boy.
first, before we do that, I should let you know that Jeff has returned. Jeff Martin, who wrote the
Oh.
Propeller manual
Is he?
for Spin 1. I hear
He's-
an enthusiastic question, Stephen. Go ahead.
No, say what? He's returned to what?
He's returned to the documentation effort for Spin 2 and
Thank
writing
you.
the manual.
Oh, good.
That's
Yeah.
deeply exciting.
Yeah, it is, as
And-
of this week. And we've been trying to get to this point really, truly for a year or so. Our main IT guy, Jim Ewald, who you guys remember, retired finally. And we just had to take over his work internally and hire it out and keep things going. And we had a lot of systems that we had to learn or shut down. And Jeff was responsible for that and he handled it. So now he's finally surfacing again. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him
exciting
for a
news.
while this morning.
How's he
to
doing
catch up.
health-wise too? Is he better?
Yeah, he's good.
Good.
Yeah, and the request with Jeff is that we do this in a very open format so that we can share whatever he's working on at any time with the community. So every little release is visible.
Very nice. That's
So
exciting.
if you have any big priorities for that kind of documentation, send it over. And it seems like we can do things out of sequence. I don't know, Chip, if you have any input on that.
On what, the order of the
Just how
document?
Jeff goes about the documentation, what order he documents Spin 2.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to him about it. I don't know.
Okay. So that's good news. And then also the other news is that we've been working on OBEX again. So we had some parts that weren't working right related to editing your own objects and uploading. And we also took out some things we didn't need there. It was becoming a little bit bigger than we originally scoped. So we scaled it back to its original purpose, which was just an OBEX. So I think, Stephen, you've had some experience putting your stuff in there recently. How did it go?
I have now. It was interesting, and I guess I can show you.
All right, so we'll do screen share. I asked
Yeah,
Stephen to do this for us
Let's see what I have here.
in
Let's see if
advance.
I've
I'm not
got
just
this
putting him on the
shared.
spot.
The question is, what screen do you share? There we go. All right. This is where I relax. My relaxing desktop. Actually, this is where I do most of my coding. Okay, so we have, how do we get to the OBEX? I'm usually here at the forums a lot, probably answering you guys less than I should be, but I'll try and be better. I get to the OBEX by clicking on this link. It's real easy. So we're in the forums and I just click on the OBEX. Let's see here. When we're looking at the OBEX, you can get to the OBEX here. I'm already signed in, so it remembers that I'm signed in. I'll take a look at the OBEX real quick, and there are a whole bunch of filters here. And I don't know the order of this, but it appears to be the latest things uploaded, the latest things worked on. So sorry for me being at the top. It's just that I was working on a bunch of stuff lately. That's not the intent. Filter to Propeller 2 is the way to use it. Filter by categories. We have the built-in category like we saw before.
I just realized that trying to search for an author doesn't work properly.
That's probably true. I would like to be able to do that. Motor control, one of the things you'll find is that we put the new the BLDC drivers up here now. The latest version, version 5. That's here. I basically, anything that's Iron Sheep, you see my logo down here on the bottom left. Anything that's ISP, I've been updating at the in the load. So one of the things I want to show you before I get into that is that you'll see some of these that whose authors are black, and you'll see that it means that it's not a link to their name yet. That's generally an indicator that these were uploaded by the archiver. And if something was uploaded by the archiver and you want to take over now and put in your latest versions, bring it back to your own name. If I were John, then I would press this adopt button, and that would move it to my name, and I'd be able to make the changes, and it would for then be owned by myself, and the adopt button would go away. So anything that's been added by archiver now has an adopt button right here. Really easy.
Only if you have the permission, because if anyone could do that, it'd be chaos immediately, right?
Well, it's not permissioned. We're all going to be gentle with each other, okay?
No, he said there was some sort of special permission that you need for this.
Well, there may be. I
This
don't
isn't one of
know.
them.
You can see that I'm me, and I'm looking at John's entry that the archiver
Yeah,
created.
you can take any object you want, but if someone just creates an account, they can't.
Okay. I don't know why that is, but that's fine.
At least I
But
think that's
anyway,
how it
the
works. So
point-
it probably doesn't actually check it, and you could probably just do it anyways. At
Okay.
least so far, my experience.
Okay, Ada, my point is though, that someone who has their objects uploaded by archiver can now adopt them and make them their own and take over maintenance. of the
Exactly. I've already taken over all the ones that I think
I saw that.
belong
You've
to
done
me.
a lot of work there. Thank you. I just want to make that point clear in the video.
Well, it gives
So-
me 12 objects now.
Yep.
What a
So
lovely.
when you go to your account page and you view your public profile, then you can see which objects you have. Well, for the most part. And I'm going to say that because, so these are objects published by me. You only get the first 10, and Michael's going to be working on this. This is still the stock page, and he's going to
Oh
work
yeah,
on
there may be some missing here. On the
Yeah,
list. Oh.
there are some missing. And so now, before these had big, long, when the archiver loaded them, they had big paragraphs of text here. Once you take over the object and you put in the subtitle, then this becomes your subtitle text. And so the big block
Oh,
of text.
none of mine are subtitles,
And
except
so,
for 2.
but anyway, you understand my point that this is how you find them. So now we have these objects. They're going back to this. What else did I want to show? So finally, when I first got to here, when Michael first released this, we had a problem with me being able to take over archiver. And so I had a lot of old content up here that I couldn't adjust. Now that I was able to adopt them, all of the objects that we've been working with are now able to adopt them. We're able to put the text up. We have objects of different types. And so for instance, my IoT gateway is both a Raspberry Pi object and Raspberry Pi code and P2 code. And so, and what you want to install is different based on which type of things you want to do with the gateway, for instance. And so the way I interpreted this in this case, and everybody's free to interpret their own, I have a repository where a lot of examples and documentation and how to set up your Raspberry Pi and things like this are all out there with lots of good examples, including system diagrams for how things work. I don't replicate that all here in the object. In the OBEX, I just put a pointer to it. And then for download, normally you'd be able to download files here. And instead, I just say for download, go out to the repo because you've got Python code, you've got P2 code, and you've got different types of code that you want based on what you want to do with it. Do I want to web back in? Do I want to be able to send mail? It's all of that is different things you can select from when you're downloading code. So I point you to the repo instead. I also point you to what version is released and to the release notes for it. And then here's the repository. And then it's also, here's the forum thread. And so I kind of tie it together for my object. I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm just saying this is what I did to try and help people understand how to use this object. What else do we have? In some cases, I have an object. You can see here, I've got the files here ready for download. I don't know if you know about them, but there's an OLED display set of devices coming out of Australia that I kind of fund from breadboard mates. That you interact with them over serial. One of their latest versions have touch, but their earliest versions didn't, and so they were display only. I wanted to use this in one of my projects, and so I built a Spin2 object for it, and that's what's shown here. But then I also refer to the object in which I use it. And so now I can go over to that object, and see what's going on. And basically, I have these kind of single servo testers, and I decided I want to make a multi-servo tester. And so I have a push button with a spinner and a menu, and I can now dial in to the servo that I want to exercise and test it and determine a range of motion for it. In this case, what makes this work is that these servos are coming behind the 16-channel PWM device. So I can have 16 servos hanging off of one I2C channel. And so now I can select which servo I want to range test, and you get this kind of output. But where it comes in is where you want to do a little bit more fun things, such as this mechanism is driven by 6 servos and off of the PWM device, and I wanted to range test these servos so I can figure out what the motion for the eyelids and the eyes are, and so I can test them and get these kind of results. And so this is one of the motivations for my building this. So how did I get here from the objects? I basically said that the Timmy object is involved in a larger object. And when we go to the OBEX, to get to servo exerciser object, we select category motor control, and you get to various different stepper motors, and you see the multi-servo exerciser object, which refers to its ability. So there are a lot of different motor control things out here already. Let's filter this to P2, and you can see that we're already beginning to develop a nice set of objects for P2 use. Is this all making sense so far?
Yes.
Any other questions? Let's see. So we saw adopting, and we saw finding, and we see that now that we can do this, this has become a usable platform. And thank you much, Michael, for working on this and getting this going, and for Ken just approving that we get this ready for use and actually make it usable. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing this. This was a really good overview. And I saw Johnny Mac jump in saying that he will go own his objects. And thanks, John, for doing that. And update whatever you can for all of us. And I think I have one thing in there, and I'll do the same. So whoever's got content in there, update it, own it, and let's make this useful, because it was a long process to get here. We got caught in stalled efforts and restarted things, and eventually found a tool that somewhat worked in our WordPress framework that Michael was able to modify. But this resembles the original intent of OBEX now. And Chip has put content there too, right, Chip?
Not directly. I think John McPhalen posted something of mine.
No, I posted your Flash file system.
Oh,
out there,
you did that.
motor driver. Yep.
The float to string thing, I think John might have done.
And I'm encouraging Chip to really move all of his work, new posts from the forums to the object exchange and point to the OBEX, so that we can show internally that we're using it and then others use it. Because going to the forums to search for code isn't a good idea.
Right.
After it finishes some development phase.
It's a bit of a longer trip doing it that way for sure.
Yeah, Skippy.
I could actually put my zip file with the latest peanut on that thing, huh?
It should be there, yeah. We should be drawing people there to encourage that use. And I see all these people here today, all the participants in the forum have been with us for so long and been using this that they'll go there and get the content, especially after we start using it. I might even have to put up a Blockly prop project. Stephen, you didn't say if we could insert pictures or video in that. Can we? Can we do that kind of thing?
I'm putting links to video, but I have not tried to insert them in line. That's a question from Michael. I was moving pretty quickly in between the other work we're doing, so I hope what I've done is useful without all of that. I tend to put most of my stuff like that at the repos too, because I put up a large volume of documentation for all my objects, and I didn't want to overload OBEX with all the volume of documentation.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed you actually brought in the BLDC controller, because I know you don't have what you really want out of GitHub in our OBEX, but at least it's easier for everybody to find that way and get to your content. Seems like a really good solution. Yes,
yeah, it's an amazing index for finding P2 things, and that's what we want it to be, right? So it's, if all of us have our own repos, that just in a sense it hides things. In a sense, it makes my work and my collection of repos easier for me, but then I don't get the exposure. And so the OBEX now gives us the exposure for that we're actually doing P2 work, and that we're contributing it, and gives us the master index to all of our different locations. So I'm a fan.
So now that we've done our self-congratulatory back pats, we're open to criticism of the OBEX the way it is today, or comments of any kind. So maybe go over there, get a look, or anyone who's taken a look, anything to add here? I'd like to be able to add in pictures and videos.
I think I saw links where we can do that already. I just haven't exercised it. So check the editor when you're creating a new object, and when you're adopting and then overriding. The editor has a little to, well, heck, why don't I just show you again? Since we're talking about it, where'd my window go? Hello. I have to get a window. Did someone close it? Nope, there it is. All right. I was on the wrong screen. No, I suppose I'm not sharing the right screen with you. Is anybody seeing my screen? My OBEX?
Yeah, good.
Are you seeing the OBEX page?
Yep.
I can't. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we
I
do.
can't see
Yeah,
my
we are.
Good. Okay, so if we go to, I'll just pick on one of my objects. If we go to the edit link, what you're given is you have all these buttons over here. And so there are room for images, you know, all the standard markdown things you can do, tables and horizontal rules. So check out the images. That's probably how you do it. If you're linking to videos, YouTube, you probably want to make sure that you have on your publication of your video that you want to show here, turn on embeddable, turn on embed is allowed. And then you'll probably see the first screen of the video here when you embed it. So just thoughts.
Very cool.
Oh, I was just muted for like a giant while when I thought I wasn't muted.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Uh,
I promise.
I was just saying I found a bug.
Oh, there are, yeah. OBEX is new enough, I'm not surprised.
I don't know why it is and how it is, but there is one, and I don't know why this is the one that I want. Check it out. I want to edit this object. I want to put some new text in here. Maybe say Lemau. I want to press update.
Thank you for sharing that.
This happens.
Whoa.
I have walnut. But is there a walnut in this packet? No, I am fresh out of walnuts. I have a packet of nuts, but there's no walnuts in there.
Okay, so Michael's going to have to look into that for sure.
We'll document
Hopefully,
it.
yeah, I haven't seen that so far, but so maybe you're special, Ada.
Yeah, I'm special because I'm all out of walnuts. I actually have some more back in the other place, but look, I'm not making it up. I do have.
Yeah,
walnuts.
that's unfortunate.
Walnut.
You do. That's great.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with my camera right now, but look, there's a packet supposed to be
I see it.
walnuts in there, but it's empty. Only other kinds of nuts remain. So I cannot, in fact, eat the walnuts that the error message wants me to eat.
That's as bad as seeing the bottom of your coffee cup. It's just wrong.
Yeah, it's just wrong. I mean, there's some pistachios in there still. So maybe it's not so bad. Actually, are there? There's like one. It's tiny and shit. Oh.
So next up, how about any other issues out there? Questions people have? We got Chip's attention. He has to go retrieve children in 20 minutes.
Oh, Chip, did you finally find the card reader?
Ah, yes, I have this. My daughter came in here and she said that she needed gas money, so I gave her $20, and then she said she's going to go pick the other kids up. So
Well,
Ooh.
that works.
yeah, this let's see. How does this thing? Here it is.
Yeah.
SD card.
So this is the SD card that we loaded up last time we did this meeting. I plugged it into my PC and it said you have to format this before you can use it.
Very dubious.
I know, yeah.
Hey, Chip, $20 is only going to get your daughter around the corner.
Yeah. You won't go
Yeah.
far, but it'll be good.
I think Eric actually changed the new code from the other guy. I forget his name. But now it's slower and probably more reliable in the next version of FlexSpin. On the other hand, it's slower even if it worked for you previously, so maybe that's the downside.
Is it? You say it's slower. Is it dramatically slower, or is it just?
Quite a decent hit slower. I think it might need like an option to change the speed on there.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyways, did you also get a new SD card? Because that was also, I think you said you got one,
Did
right?
I get another one? No, I just have this one that I've been using here. It's like, let me see what it's called. It's a RIDATA,
Whatever that is.
a micro HC 8 gigabyte.
That's the sort of thing that just falls out of the sofa crack.
Yes. I could try to format it. I could plug it in and just hit format and see what it
Yeah,
does.
just try formatting it and just putting the files on again. Wonder what that does. If not, you can download dev build for the current Flex tools. There's a couple bug fixes and see if that makes it work properly. Because that would be a success.
Let's see. Oh, it's not. All right, we'll have to get a file window up here and removable disk D. There we go. Let's see. Format. There is no disk in drive D. Well, there is. Hope I don't have any other drive D.
Well, D would normally be your optical drive, right? If you have one. Well, but I don't think it even shows format for an optical drive because that makes no sense. Well, actually, if you have a DVD RAM in there, then it would make sense.
Is this all still related to the fact Chip doesn't have the little cheapy adapters?
He has the adapter, but now he's trying to format it and see if it works if he puts the files on it normally and instead of the lunatic strange way that we were doing it.
This simple little problem has caused more time and money.
Yeah, this thing's never been really clear.
Well, while Chip looks into that, are there any topics for upcoming meetings people would like? Does anybody want to share a project or ask somebody to present on something particular? If so, let me know.
Distinct lack of projects.
Just go to your spam box and look for my email and hit reply.
Yeah.
Oh, it says it formatted it now. It's empty.
Well, we have to put the files on. They may still exist somewhere. I think I remember where you put them. Because I actually rewatched the video because it was funny.
Let's see. Yeah, that would be in downloads, I think. Let's see.
Ada, you're very supportive of getting Chip through that messy process. There's no
Well, now
way
it's
he'd be
easier.
stuck with that on his own.
I mean, we figured out how to download the files. That was the big hurdle.
Well, he's reluctant and gets difficult about things he doesn't like to do.
Right. So I see there's some files that we had unzipped. What were they called? There's mslug, there's neoum master.
Okay, but put the screen share on again. We can walk through it. Just gonna take 5 minutes.
Okay, all right.
Because we've already solved all the whole problems.
Let's see. Okay, so here, let's see, where did I put this thing?
We can just see nothing. Ah, there we go.
There we go. Wait. There. So this is everything we did last time.
Well, the first thing you need to create the neoum directory on the SD card, right?
Okay.
Just not to copy this one over, just create one for the data.
All right.
D directory.
It
Let me get another.
generally likes it uppercase, but it doesn't really matter.
Whoops. Hold on. We want to go to this D drive. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
And we just created an empty folder.
Okay, so new folder. And what do we want to call it?
Neoum, right?
Oh yeah, neo. Wait a minute. Neo dash.
No, just no dashes, just all caps, just the characters.
Is that it?
Again, it doesn't care for the capitalization, but all caps is the canonical.
Okay, so I should go all caps.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but it just
Like
wants
that,
it like
right?
that. Yes.
All right.
Okay, then we create inside there a Neo Geo directory.
Like this.
Yeah, I think that one's canonically lowercase, but it doesn't matter. And that's where the neo-epo.bin goes. It should be somewhere buried down there in the with the files.
Right here.
Right. It's not in the folder. It should just be somewhere down there at the bottom, at the very bottom.
Okay, where there is a whole bunch of downloaded stuff. Let me see here. What would it be called?
You can just start typing the name neo-epo.bin.
Okay, Neo. Okay. So Neo EPO.
Yeah, neo-epo. That's the BIOS file. We need the BIOS
.bin.
file.
Okay, I see it on this other thing. So do you want to grab neo-epo.bin?
Yeah, exactly. That's the export BIOS. You want to put it into the folder.
I want to put it into Neo Geo.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Let's see here. There it is.
Yeah, that is okay. Now we go back up and just dump the mslug directory in there.
Okay, put another directory in here.
No, not we go one layer up again, and that's where we put the entire mslug directory.
Mslug like this.
Yeah, and the entire contents of thereof have to go in there.
Okay, so mslug. Where did I see that here? mslug. Now, should I search for mslug?
It should be at the top of the files. I just saw it
Oh,
out of
okay,
the corner
okay,
of
I
my
see
eye.
it here. So we have all these ROM files.
Yeah, I mean, the
And
other one is a ROM
how
file
about the
as well.
201-C1?
Yeah, all of those. All of those.
Here we go.
Oh, there's a bunch of the other ones. You can delete the ones that end in .rom. They are duplicates and stupid.
Get rid of these.
No, of the other ones. The other ones. I don't need those.
All right.
Yeah, now we're good. Now we're Gucci. Anyways,
So now what do we do?
and
Go
now
back out of here.
now it should be loaded up with that. We can load up the other thing. That would have to be create a mega UMA directory at the root.
Wait, say that again.
Go to the root again, and then just create a mega UMA as well for good time's sake.
Mega Yum.
Exactly. And I think we got Sonic 2 or something in the downloads folder, right? I'll just drag that.
Yeah, so grab the Sonic.
Yeah, just drag that bin file in there. It will make us happy.
There's just a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 world.md.
If it's .md, it's the same. Just drag it in there.
Like this thing here.
Yeah, okay. You want to rename it to something like just Sonic 2 so it doesn't get confused with the long file name. And then
Okay.
it's
Is it
good to
.md?
go. It's fine. It doesn't really care, but it has to be either .md, .bin, or .smd.
So it should be .bin or md.
It could be anything. It doesn't really care.
Could it be nothing?
No, then it wouldn't show it. It has to be bin, md, or smd.
Okay, how about that?
Yeah, just change it to bin. It's fine. That's lovely. So now we can try and see if it sees the file. Someone made that
so
file
now
in
I'm gonna pull this
1996.
thing out. I'm gonna
Well, you want to save eject it, I guess, but
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
really matter. But
let's see, where is he? Oh, remove. Okay, how do I just say?
I
Here we
think
go.
it's
Eject.
eject. Or
Okay,
that's just old. You can cancel that, I think.
right.
And now we can figure out where the
Now I'm gonna pull that out of here, right?
yeah.
And I put it into the P2 edge.
Yes. Now we've loaded up the goods. Now I have to figure out.
Now I need to go to FlexProp, right?
Right, we were building it in the bash shell from the other folder, right?
Oh, yeah, I closed that thing.
Well, we can open it up again. It doesn't cost us much. We have to find it again.
Okay, so here's the git bash thing.
Okay, I think you have to go one layer up.
All right, hold on. All right, so that'd be,
Yeah, it needs its space. It is weird. The DOS prompt doesn't need space. And then I think it's just called NeoUma or something. I think you just left it as that in here. No, you think it's dash master, I think. And maybe it has capitalization. Yeah, there we go. It has entered the directory. Okay, so now we have to, I think we didn't properly do this last time, but so we have to do this again. I'm gonna put it in chat again. Export.
I need to go
path.
into FlexC, right? I mean FlexProp.
You have to put it on the path again, remember? Otherwise you'd have to log in and log out again.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It should be able to-
Something like this, you should make it happen. load that into the path.
Wait, did you put something in the chat?
Yeah,
Okay, Ken, what were you saying?
I was just reminding you of the time.
Oh, no, it's okay, because Sarah's gonna go get him.
Oh, that's not okay.
I think that should do it. And it should already have been compiled. So I think if you just do that, we can just load P2, the binary that already exists.
Okay, so what do I do? Load P2?
Load P2 neo-yuma lower.binary or something. Yeah, lower.
Oh, okay, let's see.
It has
Oh,
to be a
underscore lower.
Yeah,
Dot bin.
not binary. It's a longer one.
Yeah.
And that should maybe load it.
Should I hit enter?
Yeah.
I don't see any activity. Oh, wait. Now it's doing something.
It's loaded. Or maybe you have to put T. Sometimes you have to put T to keep the connection alive, because otherwise it turns off again.
Should I switch the other monitor over to?
Yeah, you'd want to see if it's doing something.
All right, hold on here. So we had this thing set up to do starting at pin 8, it was going to output VGA, was it? Or
I think we'd had it set to HDMI output.
good, yeah, HDMI. Okay. All right, so I'll switch this other TV over. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, now look. Okay, so
Okay, what we got? I might have to switch to CEO.
there's no
video.
games.
Okay, it still doesn't see the SD card, I guess. Try loading it with the parameter type load P2 something, and then -A mslug.
Okay, hold on here. I'm gonna set this here. And then we're gonna say load P2.
Yeah, the same file again, but with -A mslug. Try if that does something. If not, then we're gonna try updating the tools to.
Okay, like that. -A.
Yeah, space mslug. See if that does anything. Because that should.
Okay.
But that just gives us the same I/O error that we had last time.
Oh yeah, it's like it doesn't
So
like
right,
this.
it doesn't like the card, right? Maybe.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Anyways, we can actually update this to the latest version. You just have to do a little bit of an oopsie here, which is to go to, because we've got this very nice thing set up where even if there's no proper release, you can still get tools from GitHub from the very latest version, because it runs a bunch of tests on it, and there's a semi side effect of that. You can actually download the whole thing, but you have to be logged in to do that, I think. By going to this website.
Hold on, you're putting something in chat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta switch my monitor around. Hold on. Okay, so chat. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? Oh, okay, there we are. Wait. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Okay. And now you go to the very bottom of the page. It says something about, there's a bunch of warnings, but at the bottom it says release zips win32. And you need to click on that. If you can't click on it, that's because you're not logged in. You have to be logged in for some reason.
Oh, okay, let me sign in.
It's off the screen, we're fine.
Oh, incorrect username or password. Oh, what did I?
1, 2, 3, 4. I have the same combination on my luggage.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, now I gotta go. It's sending me something to my email. Hold on.
Pain.
Okay.
We like the
let's see.
pain. We like the pain. We like the pain. We like the pain. Pain.
There it is. Now I can click on it.
Yes, yes, yes. Now we can click on it.
Okay, clicked.
That gives you a file, right? That's a zip
Yeah, it
file. And
seems
inside
to
the
have-
zip file is another zip file.
Okay, so it seems to have downloaded. Then I here it is. So do I open this up?
Yeah, just open it in 7-zip. We remember the zip folders are evil and they want to hurt
Right.
us.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me say, extract all.
No, that doesn't work. We remember it doesn't work. It only causes sadness.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't know where. There's all kinds of stuff here now. All right, let me try it again. Okay, now what? Let me bring this over here.
You have to open it with the 7-zip. Remember the normal thing causes sadness. Go back to downloads and but basically the objective is to take this and dump it into the flex prop folder and replace the existing files as they were.
Could I copy all this right now?
Yes, but you could, in theory, if it worked properly. But as we established last time, Windows zip folders hate you.
Yeah,
You have
because
to
this
use-
is all still really in the zip file.
Yeah, you
Right.
have to open the zip files with 7-zip, otherwise it won't work. You will become sad.
Okay. Ooh. What did it just
And
do? Hold on.
I think you just
This is-
clipped out of reality, and now you're in the Windows backrooms or something.
You
Yeah.
probably have to go back to your download folder.
Just go back to downloads.
All right.
Downloads is where it's safe. And at the very bottom, there may be a file.
Hold on here.
You right click and go 7-zip open.
Okay, there, right? This one here.
Yeah, go 7-zip open. Go 7-zip open.
Okay, hold on. Zips. 7-zip. I don't see. Oh, here it is.
Open archive.
Here.
No, the
Open
first one, the
archive.
first one, the first one. Open archive. I don't know why it's there twice, but now there we go. That's ought to work. Now you open up the interior archive as well. Okay, now you find where the FlexProp installation folder is, and by find it,
Would it be in bin, doc, include?
no, you want to find where you have installed FlexProp, and then you want to dump all this over top of it.
Okay, so I'm going to copy this, right? Copy.
Yeah,
all-
you have to drag and drop it. It doesn't work with copying.
All right. So what I'm going to do is find in the C drive. Is that where I have like program? file?
You had it on E, I think. Yeah, it was E.
Oh,
chip,
that's right.
Parallax,
I remember
FlexProp,
that.
exactly.
Okay, so chip, parallax, and then in here there was FlexProp. Here it is. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
just going to drop all
This
this.
already has a bin and include directory, right?
Right.
Now, okay, now you're gonna drag this all over there and replace the existing files when
Oops.
it asks you.
Okay, wait. I'm going to grab all this and take it over there
Mm-hmm.
and just drop it. Okay, here it goes. Should I replace files in the destination? Yes. Right?
Yep. And now it should have updated your compiler. Can you go back to the bash prompt?
Yes.
And if you now type flexbin, it should give you the latest version. In theory. Maybe scroll to the top, then it will tell you what the version is. Yeah, 69-0 beta. That's what we want.
All
But
right.
technically we want to include. Now go /build.sh,
Wait, dot slash,
build.sh
wait, build.
with D, not in the past tense. .sh, and now it should give you the.
So hit enter.
Yep. And it should build it again. And now you go up and do the load P2 again.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to then do this thing here.
Yeah, either one. I think the first one is more interesting.
There we go. All right. And then I'll switch monitors again.
See if that makes it less sad.
Okay. It says no games, right?
Ah, I didn't do it. Oh no.
Let's try
Woe is
the,
us.
wait a minute. What was the other one called? This one.
This one.
This is the -A space M slug.
Yeah, that gives the same.
File IO error.
Whatever. Well, we can try with the other one again because that has a file explorer, which is perhaps more interesting. Maybe it's just, maybe something weird happened with the files.
I think it's doing this all the same stuff it did last time. It doesn't seem to like this card.
Yeah, but the new version should have reduced the SD card bus speed, so it should like it again.
Oh, okay. Well,
can you try the other one, the Mega Humor?
Okay, so what do I do? I change directories here?
Yeah, change directories to the Mega Humor directory. Rebuild that one. So
Wait a minute, what have we got here? Okay, back out of this.
need space, yeah, and then goes into Mega Humor. If that dash master probably is called.
Oh, no, this would still be, okay, this is all my stuff here. So
No, it is in there. Look, it is in there.
oh, okay, oh, Mega U Master, okay.
Yeah, that's where you put it. And now run build.sh in this one as well.
Okay, so build
/build. It needs a /, otherwise it won't know that it wants to run it here.
just like that.
Yep. And now it was load P2. It's not P2 load.
Oh yeah.
And now we have to load the appropriate file again.
Which is Mega Yum lower.
Exactly. No. The reason why it's lower is because the lower file includes the upper file into itself.
Oh,
it may be useful to rename it in the script or something, but I never did that.
Is it .spin2?
No, if you load the spin2 file, it will not work and you will become sad.
Yeah.
You have to load the binary, of course.
Is it like this?
Binary. Yes.
Okay, here we go.
What do we get on the screen?
We're gonna see.
We're gonna get the start screen. Okay, then you have to hit enter.
Oh yeah, okay, hold on. I gotta like plug in. Oh boy, hold on. This is a because I put the wireless mouse back on the other thing. Let's see, where did I have that? Yeah, I gotta plug this thing in. And where did we have the? Do you remember what pins we had?
We had 14 and 15, I think.
Okay, and then what? I gotta see. Okay, V plus. Okay, we had 14 and 15, huh? All right, hold on a minute.
Minus first, I think.
I've got to find. Okay, I think I just picked this up. Okay, so here, hold on. So 14 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
A minute. All right. Oh shoot, I have a wire. Oh darn, a wire broke off in my connector. What a pain. Hold on. I'm gonna need like a screwdriver to.
Oh no. That really is a pain.
Yeah, at least I got her here. Hold on a sec. Oh, okay, got a wire stripped. Let me get a screwdriver here. Okay, here, so I'm just down on this stuff right here. So I'm gonna get this wire out. Okay, there, that fell out. This one's gonna go in. That get in there. All right, let me plug this thing back in again. Let's see, got to figure out which is ground. Minus, okay, here's ground.
Hardcore using 4 of the same wire color for that.
Yeah. I might have to reverse the pin, but that's no biggie.
And that instead of just using the actual breakout boards that your literal company is making. But okay.
Okay, now let's see, I got to get 5 volts, right? On this thing.
Yeah, that's the
I can
danger
get
zone
that
that
down here. Hold on. All right, now this was the keyboard thing.
yeah,
Okay,
we need the
confirm
keyboard.
key to continue. So did it hit the enter key?
Yeah, just hit enter and it should drop you into like the file browser or
Okay,
something.
wait, nothing there. Let me switch these 2 pins. Wait a sec. Oh, wait a second. What the heck? Let me pull one of these things off of here. Too much
I
junk.
think it turned into something. At least it's not the same screen anymore. I
Because
can't tell.
the 5 volts came out of the HDMI connector.
Ah, now we go.
Okay, now I think I have to reverse the pins. Hold on. I don't know if I have this thing hooked up right.
Sometimes you might just need to restart it
Unfortunately-
if you've fiddled with it
Oh wait,
like that.
I know why. I've got the pins all wrong here. Hold on. Let's see, that one goes there. Now, okay, now let me try reversing them. I think I got them straightened out.
I said you
This
might just
doesn't
need to
work.
restart the program.
Skippy, I passed host control over to you.
Also, you need to press the
Alright.
main enter key. The numpad enter key, I don't think works.
So, oh, okay, the main enter key, not the other. Okay, let me reverse them again. Now, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the problem is.
Again, you might need to restart it if you mess with the pins too much. It might get confused.
Oh, there. Okay. Now I did something.
Oh, and where are we now?
It says go up.
Go up, and where do you go up to?
SD.
And in SD, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason it really does not like this card.
Yep, it does not like the card. Oh,
Even with the reduced speed.
I need to, yeah, I just need to get another card and do it again. Sorry about this.
No, that's very interesting because even with the reduced speed mode, it doesn't do it unless you didn't replace the file properly or something. Can you open this back up? Can you open the file up, the FlexProp folder?
Okay, hold on.
I think it's under include.
Okay, so are we
file
here in
FS.
the screen share thing?
It's not in there right now. You want to go into the FlexProp folder where you put the files, right?
Oh, yeah, okay, hold on. I gotta
Did it actually get the
Hold on, I
right
gotta
file.
switch monitors again. Oh, this is a pain. Oh, shoot, I just turned them off. I gotta turn them back on.
Oh,
All right.
I have
now
like
let's-
dedicated monitors for this, for dumb things like that. Not little composite video one. It just kind of sits here and
Okay,
auto turns on when it gets a signal.
so here's what we got.
Yeah, if you go into include, and I think it's under, it's probably under file sys then. FATFS and SDMMCC.
Oh, did you want me to run that?
No, you want to look at it if it's the current version, because
Should I put it in a text editor?
yeah, put it into a text editor and let's. I have to check out my version of this. See what.
Oh, it's foolproof.
Foolproof. Oh, that's good. You want to go down to you probably need a text editor with syntax highlighting, otherwise you'll never see what the correct thing is. Because there's a lot of stuff that's commented out down here with defines.
Was there a keyword we're looking for?
Search for reliable. Exactly, and that seems to be enabled. So what would you
Find the
need
next
to
one.
do to make it even extra slower? Right, that's the only place that should be. Can you wait a second? How would you make this even slower?
There's two places it occurs.
Oh, two places? Really?
Well, here and here.
Oh, they really are two. But I don't know which of these is actually getting used. But
Well,
what?
here's some. But both are-
Anyways, I
Here and
can't
here.
tell which of these is actually being used, which is kind of troublesome. Why does ckdiv and that's it again? Oh, I am mildly confused here. Which of these is actually getting used? Because there's two of these, and wait, this is an else block. An else block for what? SDB2. Well, the top one needs to be SDB2. Okay, so this top one is the one that works. Try changing the bottom one with ckdiv, the very bottom else case in top. In the
this here?
top no, in the upper one.
This one.
This one. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Change
Okay.
that to what's the stupid thing to change it to? Maybe 8 and 10.
Is this like?
That's the high period, and the other one
Oh,
is the
yeah. So now
low
it's
period.
6 and 12.
Yeah, and you want to change it to 8 and 16.
Okay, so like this, 8 and then 10.
Exactly. Try save that.
Save this.
Yeah,
Okay, save.
and then run the whole build and load step again and see if that changes anything, because that should make it super duper mega slow.
All right, so do we do this load again?
We have to do the build again, so it pulls in the change file.
Right here.
Yep.
And then load.
and then load it again, right? See if that causes it to
Alright.
to do something.
Okay, so now it says it's still saying like it doesn't see anything.
Very annoying and curious. That's kind of.
I think
of
this
all
card
sorts
is
of-
just not gonna work right for us.
Yeah, but it worked at some point, and now it doesn't.
Well,
This is.
Well, did it ever work? I don't know that it ever did.
It worked with the shell program, which was running at a lower clock speed. So I'm wondering, oh, maybe if you change the speed. So go back to that text file and change it back. Otherwise, we're gonna get like undo the change. So otherwise, we're gonna get copped, right?
Okay, so go here.
No, go back to the text file we just edited and change it back just for.
Okay. So this.
It was.
This is 06 OC.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, save this again. You know, does this thing even? Okay. I mean, I saved it. It should save it back. All right.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go back to this thing. We're gonna rebuild. Whoops, hold on.
Yeah, you have to find a card that isn't weird, maybe.
Okay, now reloading. And hit the confirm key. Still nothing. It's just like.
I mean, that wasn't it was to be expected, right? We didn't change anything.
Right.
We really don't have a better card anywhere.
Nope, not that I know of. I should have ordered one. I ordered this thing that lets me plug it in, but I didn't like remember to get another card.
Hey, Chip, something you might want to try is removing the SD card, plugging it back in, and hitting the reset button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remove it, then reset, then put it back in or something like that.
Okay, so I'll like plug it in and then let my finger off the reset.
And then we load again and see if that.
Wait a sec.
Unconfuses
You know what? I
it.
don't think our switches are set to let us talk to this thing because we want.
Oh, exactly, the switches.
So we want USD card and serial, right? Or do we want USD or micro SD card and card only? Do you want USD card or and serial or USD card only?
Well, we want serial, otherwise we're not gonna get the thing loaded.
Okay,
well,
so
you could
off,
copy it
off,
as a
off.
boot file, but.
All right, so off.
Oh god, what's the correct?
Hold on, what do we
I
have?
think you want to have P59 up, I think. And yeah, flash off, P59 up on, everything else off as well.
Okay. LED is on, that doesn't matter, right?
Well, if the LED is on, I think that means it sees the pull-up, right? Oh wait, no, the LEDs on the edge mean something else entirely. They just sometimes turn on their own.
Okay, so now let's reload this mega unit thing. Okay, confirm key. Okay, now it's still showing that there's like, it says that it's like, well, this is interesting. It knows that it's megayum.
Yeah, now it's seeing the folder. That's interesting. But it doesn't see anything more than that.
Well, now
now we're at the SD root and there's nothing. And if you go into now we're at the sort of virtual file system root and there's nothing. Can you change the thing back to where it says that we just change it back to what it was previously?
okay. You mean the code?
Yeah, the code. Just
okay, yeah. So this right here, 0810.
Exactly. That should make it mega slow. That's on 16th of 320. That's like What is that?
Are you sure we
320.
aren't? This is the second one. You sure we
This is
aren't?
the
using-
second one. Just change the second one as well.
So they're just going to be, oh, both of these are going to be like this.
Yeah.
Whoops, like that. Okay,
Yeah.
there's the one. And then here's the other.
Mm-hmm. That's the
Okay.
else case for when clock speed
All right,
is.
then we're going to go to, wait. We're going to go to this thing here. Now we will say the build.
Builds, exactly. And
All right, and then this one.
load.
Okay, so here we go. Now hit the, well, see, it says down there MegaUm, right?
Yeah, it sees the folder, but it doesn't see anything else.
My hand, oh, there's my hand. Yeah. And then, but here's the thing, if I go up, then I kind of go back down, it doesn't see it again.
Yeah, it only sees it once, which is very strange.
Yes, I think we just have card problems.
Yeah, I think some things are just card problems, and or maybe no, this card would have been freshly formatted, so there's no possibility that it's like janky formatting, right?
No, it shouldn't be.
Well, you can try to direct load into a file, which would be something like where did you put it? I'm gonna put the command in chat other than
Oh, in the chat.
I'm gonna put it in the chat so it doesn't I think we called it .bin. If it can see the folder at first, maybe it sees the file on first try and we're gonna get something.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh, wait.
Whatever happened there, I think you have to right click paste it. Anything else will cause sadness.
Yeah, I did. Let's see.
Maybe you didn't copy it correctly.
I'm copying it again.
Sometimes things don't copy. I don't know why.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that one. Let's see if you're gonna get something out of that.
Okay, now here we go. Path.
That's that. Thought we had one up on it, but maybe not.
All right.
Well, that's not
We
so nice,
tried.
but we tried. We just next month we're gonna get an SD card.
Yeah. All righty. Well, yeah, I'll have a better SD card next month. Now, does
Yeah, I
anyone
don't know
else?
what the
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know what the deal with this one is for. Wait, I could figure out maybe what it would run at because right, if the shell program was seeing the SD card, what sort of speed would that have run at if it had the old configuration? Okay, now we're getting into real strange ideas. Would have been 200, which is over 5. 200 over 5 would have been, well, 50.
40.
40. So that's bizarre that it would work then, but maybe it's something regarding the signal timing, which that wouldn't have, because it just defaults to 200, right? It doesn't override. Shell doesn't have an override, does it? Oh, the strange issues we have. Shell wouldn't override the clock speed, right? Doesn't seem like it does that. And if you open up the no, it runs at 160. it runs at 160 default speed. So wait, at 160, it would have been 160 over 5, which is still a lot, I think. But yeah, 160 over 5 would have been 32. So that would have, but why did that work, and why are we now not working if you go down to 20 or something like that? That's the real strange observation. The only other thing is that maybe now it makes this distinction here for sync IO that didn't do it in the other one. Didn't do it with the other. I am completely lost as to what anything. Oh, SD cards. Full HD video.
Harry
class
said that
10.
this Gigastone, some of these were good, so I just looked up on Amazon. This one's the cheapest. It's like 11 bucks.
I usually like the SanDisk cards. I don't know why I use them normally. What
So
is
like a
what do those-
SanDisk or something.
Yeah, what do those cost? I think the Ultra is what the brand name is. That's at
Okay,
least
what's
what
it
I
called?
always use.
Ultra?
Yeah, they call it Ultra, but it's not all that Ultra. It's actually the sort of, but oh, they stopped selling the 16 gigabyte version.
Yeah, here they have a
Great.
64 gig SanDisk Ultra. Should I just get that? It's like 15 bucks.
If you get one that's 32 gigabytes or larger, you'll have a headache because
Oh, yeah, this
Windows
is
refuses to format them.
It's a 64 gig.
You want the 16. The 16 is fine, but apparently they maybe stopped selling it. That might not be so nice. Where do I get my
They
SD
sell
cards
them,
now?
but they're always in like, oh, here's one. Older version SanDisk, 16 gigabyte, Ultra Micro SDHC.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, all right, I'll just order that thing. Okay.
They have all sorts of like logos on them. They should say like A1 or something like that. That's how you know you've got the goods.
All right.
A1 is actually very interesting because the normal speed class tells you how fast it will actually read stuff if you read it in a big line. But the A class will actually tell you how fast it is at reacting to a bunch of commands that you send, and you want to get a block from here, right? That's actually what the A class does. I think A1 means 1,500 reads per second or something like that.
Well, I ordered that one SanDisk 16 gigabyte card. It's like 11 bucks or something. So we'll see. We'll
I
try.
remember them being cheaper.
We'll try that one.
Yeah, that's the one I have and I know it works. I think I have the 64 gigabyte, but it also works. But you know, the formatting of that is a bit of a. You need a special program to do it because, for bizarre reasons, Windows just refuse to format them in FAT32 format. It will always want to use exFAT, but exFAT is weird and no one likes it.
No, you can format them in FAT32. You just got to tell it to do it, though.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't let you. You need a special program to make it happen.
You mean for greater than 16 gigabyte cards?
Yes, exactly. Or maybe it's for greater than 32. I don't remember. I think it's greater than 32. Because I think 32 just about works still.
That's weird because I mean I'm almost certain it lets you choose the format of the file system in the
Yes,
dropdown.
it lets you choose it, but it doesn't let you pick FAT32. I say it's bizarre.
That's if the partition's too large. That's because FAT32 can't address larger than 64 gig.
It can.
Or I mean larger than 32 gig. Sorry.
It can, certainly. You can. I think you can create FAT32 partitions up to 2 terabytes.
Okay.
Even larger if your drive actually uses big sectors, because it's the sector limit that counts.
You're gonna make me go look now. Let me go find the 64 gig card.
Yeah, Windows will not let you do it. It is very bizarre. It will only offer exFAT.
Is there what would anyone like to discuss since we have some time here?
Yeah, or amazing event fell through again. Well, oh no. Now I have been hit with the same everything is empty syndrome. And I think I know what did it. I think I pulled out the SD card midway while it was running. I have the same thing happening to me now. It is interesting. If that's the behavior when you pull out the card while it's running, then maybe there's something nefarious going on that's preventing it from working.
So it sounds like for these bigger cards, which are just basically what you wind up buying today, unless you're picky, that Windows will want to format it in some kind of FAT, which is kind of awkward, more awkward to use than the old way.
Exactly. There's a way to enable it with the FlexBin file system driver, but will increase the amount of code that that needs to be pulled in, and will use more memory to do it. I don't think I've ever actually tried it, but it supposedly works. And it also wouldn't work with this because I've coded some of this to under the assumption that we have a short file name, and exFAT doesn't have a concept of a short file name, like a DOS 8.3 type 1. Because with FAT32, that's sort of like the long file names are sort of a layer on top of the short file names.
I see.
Anyways, there's a tool that lets you always format large drives in FAT32, but it's you kind of have to find it and download it. And whoever made that tool has like a very interesting taste in web design, by which I mean you have to download the tool, you have to click on the screenshot. This is completely non-intuitive. It says it above, but people don't read, right? Very interesting.
Boy.
I actually dumped that into the chat as well, because I don't know. That's the amazing tool that you could use to FAT32 it.
You know, so I had a kind of a weird SD card issue or so with the, you know, so like I was using the SD card in Flex C. So like my C programs or so, like they were, you know, it was able to read from the SD card. You know, but then like the color cell compression slideshow, like when I was trying to run that, or so that would not read the SD card. You know, and of course it was the same SD card and everything that I was using with my Flex C program.
So wait, that was like the other guy's code, right? That uses a spin SD driver, does it?
Yeah, that was like an SD driver in Spin.
Yeah, so it's different code. Now I think that should work. It's probably one that's like 50 miles downstream of the one that I once touched, which I just copied from somewhere else. I don't know where they came from, but I want to say that one should work. If it doesn't, there's something interesting going on. What sort of SD card do you have?
I don't know, I think it's the ATP brand, 8 gigabyte. But see, the other thing is that it's formatted for Raspberry Pi operating system. So like I've just been putting my files in the initial fat partition.
Ah, maybe that confuses it, like the partition table or something like that. That could be the case, because that's kind of weird what happens with that.
So I wonder, like, if any of these drivers or so, are they actually reading the partition table, or are they just like?
But they have to.
The partition is at a certain offset.
I don't actually remember how it works. I think. I don't know actually. Maybe does it? What does it do? Yeah. What else? I have a version of that somewhere. I can check that. That's not the one. No. Oh no, I've clicked on a number of things. Now my computer is exploding. No, I don't want system settings. I don't want system settings. Why do I have system settings on my quick access? There ought to be FSRW here. Where does that have its? No, it's FAT32.spin probably. Where does that? Wait, no, that one does read the partition table, does it? I know that one reads the partition table because it says it somewhere. What driver are we talking about? Is it the FSRW or is it the FAT32 one? Such is importance because
Well, let me see.
because that's
Yeah, and that's FSRW.spin too.
Oh, that one is the more hackneyed one. I have to check what that one does when you mount the card, because something tells me it doesn't do it properly. There you go, mount explicit. Who knows what that is doing? Get FS type, but where? That defined. Oh, that's just that. I think it's reading attempting to read something from partition 0 from the master boot record. But Lord knows what else is going on there.
You can use the command line in Windows to format FAT32, by the way.
Can you?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I forgot to tell it to do a quick format, but it recognized the old format is exFAT and new format is FAT32 for a 50 gig SD card or 64 gig SD card. I put it in
Oh,
chat.
that's nice that it could do that. Did not know that.
I'm like, I know I've done it. I just couldn't remember how I did it.
Guess it would work for the format command on the command line. Yeah, that. Why does no one ever think of that? Hmm. Yes, it is that. So the reason they go with the exFAT thing is that for the larger drives is that normal FAT has like a 4 gigabytes or something limitation on each individual file. Which on a small card, you're not gonna put, if you have an 8 gigabyte card, you're not gonna put 2 4 gigabyte files on there, right? That's a bit silly. But if you have a 64 gigabyte card, you might very well put like a very large file on there. That's why they do that, because the file limit is 32-bit. However, the stuff we do that it's never gonna go to 4 gigabytes, so it doesn't even need that. Well, there's ways to generate files that are very large, but we can just do the thing that has always been done, which is just chunk it into multiple, if it goes to that point. That's a very far away point. So anyways, Spook. Oh, I think I started working on that other thing after after the last meeting, but then I just kind of stopped because I got bored. Let's see if you can build that.
You mean the shape filling?
Yes, the shape filling. And I also started on some vector transformations. That's the other thing. Very inefficient at all. I think it's just mostly a proof of concept. I think what you want to do is actually use 16-bit precision for the shape filling. I'm thinking, because with that, yeah, now we're going. Now we're cooking. Look at this shape filling on top of another picture.
Oh, that's pretty
I keep
good.
using the same picture. I need to get more funny pictures. And the interesting thing is that I've added some ability to move this around with perspective. I don't think I've added rotation yet. That's because I've figured something interesting out, which has to do with this is very obvious, but for some reason I just kind of brain rotted it. I'm pretty sure I knew this at some point, but then I forgot it and then I learned it again, because that's how things work these days.
That's because there's so much to think about.
So if you've got if you're multiplying two matrices together, right, it looks like this. Now, as you may notice, it's actually there's actually something important about which one's on the left and which one's on the right, right? So if you think of each matrix as some sort of transformation that's applied to the point, whether you put it on the left or the right depends on whether the new transformation that you're adding is getting added to the beginning or to the end of the sort of chain of transformations. That's, again, it sounds very stupid and simple, but for some reason I got hold up on that. And now you can see there's actually two different versions, if I can find it. So if you want to translate on the left, you actually just have to add the translation into the matrix. But if you want to translate on the right, you actually have to do a bunch of dot products here. Well, 3 dot products, this is, as it were. Because you have to translate the vector by which you're translating by the transform the vector that you're translating by the matrix as it already exists, right? That's because we're gonna go on the right, and these all derive from the idea that you have some sort of matrix that does something, and we're gonna multiply it into, because all the matrices that do something interesting, like a translation matrix, has a lot of ones and zeros in it, right? So if we do, so we can skip a lot of these multiplications, right?
Right.
We can also skip the entire bottom row of this, because on a any reasonable rotation and transform matrix, the bottom row is actually going to be 0, 0, 0, 1. So we don't never have to store it, and when we do math, we can just assume it's there. That's another way to speed it up. If you look at the structure definition that I have for the matrix here, is it here? Somewhere there's a structure definition for it. Oh no, I can't find it. It's not in. What am I doing? I can just right click and go to definition. There we go. As you can see, it's only 12 entries in the matrix. That's because we don't have to store the bottom row ever.
Wow.
So now I should be able to actually add turning the camera around into the code. Let's actually just add that. Where do we go? We go to the bottom. We can here we translate by the eye position. So we just have to create some eye pitch equals 0 or something, and then we go into here and go empty translate, no, empty rotate y2 comma empty x I pitch.
So this big 4x4 matrix thing is really like a worst, it's a catch-all that you can do anything within, but a lot of the time you don't need to do all of it.
Exactly. We do need to do all of it when we want to transform a point. We have to sort of do 3 dot products once again to get the transform point out of it, and then we have to add the sort of 4th column in. And then you get the transform point. Is it not called eye pitch? Eye pitch equals 0. We copy this into. I have this separate setup for all of these right now, but it really doesn't need to be like that. Actually, it has to be at the top, I think. Why is that? How is that? Okay, just pretend there's some reason to this. This is completely nonsense. It'll probably not work. I am stupid. Just go if how key state on key left, then I pitch negative equals some amount of rotation. Well, it's still maybe let's see if you can get it rotating.
You need some changing variable, right? What is OX?
Oh,
That's
that
supposed
just
to,
means it's a hex constant, and also I have it doesn't like the separator right now, which is strange. Okay, then just no separator. We are fine. We are good. Oh, I think it's doing something, but the values are still too small. Look. We are rotating something, but the order of operations isn't right. But this doesn't come through if I don't screen share. Actually, I can.
Points for
Screen share.
entertainment, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to
Gosh, that looks nice too. It's clean.
I have to check that real quick. Let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. Okay. Struct matrix view mtx equals per mtx. There we go. Make a copy of the matrix into another one, and then we have to. Yeah, this should work. And now we want to, instead of setting to identity, we want to set it to mt underscore no cur mtx equals view mtx. There we go. And then we want translate to rotate right. Why is this twice here? This is all being very very rude and shrewd. Now we're getting hopefully the right outcome. Do we get it? One of them is now very small for some reason. Did I comment out the scale? No, that's because this one has a translate that we didn't want an extra one. There we go. Now it should be fine. Well, it's rotating around the center. That's not correct, but
Oh wow.
because we want to rotate the camera, not that, right? So we actually have to do these two in a different order because we want to have to rotate and then the translate.
Ada, is the doll a reflection or is that no, that was on the screen too?
No, that was on the screen. I don't know. I use this funny picture every time. She's like Blorbo from Funny Shoot Game.
So your shapes are translucent.
Yeah, the shapes are translucent. That's just. I made the shapes translucent because so you can see that it doesn't overdraw the pixels twice. And I put a background image there because I loaded the background image first to see that the video driver is going right. That the video driver isn't imploding. Oh, I can turn the view around. The problem is that there's no clipping, so it doesn't really work that well. But you can kind of see that I'm turning the view around, right?
Yeah.
Now it's going very fast. Maybe take some of that speed off there. And maybe make the move speed for the eye a bit faster. And Then we can also add, if we have an eye pitch, right, we can add eye jaw with 0, and we have to load the camera down again, the physical camera, not the camera that in the oh, my brain hurts. In theory, you should be able to control this with mouse as well, but you know how they are.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it kind of, as you saw just earlier, it kind of glitches when they leave the screen because there's no clipping. Because I didn't really work on this much further. Okay, right, we have to actually add it first, right? We have the variable, but we don't do anything with it. We have to, I think this has to come first, and we have to rotate along the x-axis.
Are you using the like that 32 meg RAM or that type of memory as a Z
That's
buffer?
No, that's being used for the frame buffer right now. Currently, there's no Z buffering or anything. It just writes things on top of each other.
Oh, right. That's
And
so
the back
translucence
faces
will always work.
are just removed because the algorithm doesn't render them at the moment. It doesn't even cull them properly. The translucent objects really are just to show that that there's no overlap between the individual areas. Because then
Right.
you'd see them twice. It's technically not translucent, this is additive blending. It just adds, doesn't add pics or something. Does it add pics? I don't know what it does right now. It's very proof of concept and not very optimized.
Well, it's looking good.
Now,
Is that running at full speed?
this is right now. This is running at full speed for some definition of full speed, but it is super unoptimized. So
Okay.
that doesn't mean anything. Also, I think the polarity needs to be changed. Because up and down might mean something different here. Or maybe not, maybe I'm stupid. And yeah, we can now up and down look. It seems to be moving the more so than actually changing the angle, but I have to maybe put the camera in a nicer spot so I can handle it with both hands, and then I can circle strafe. Maybe if this camera has like the worst way to position it without dropping it. So that's like without toppling it over. So
Oh, excuse me for a second, Ada. I'm heading out. Thank you for showing all that. That's fun.
yeah.
I'll see you next time. See you, Chip.
All right. See you, Steven.
Right. Okay. Now I have the camera stabilized. We are stable and we are in orbit or something. There we go. Now I can kind of more interestingly show this, that we can, like, maybe should stop the screen share because then it will pop up properly. Now they're all overlapping because we are standing. Also, what I just noticed is that the order of transformations is wrong. We have to actually do the translate first after the rotate, before the rotates, because now I'm not moving correctly anymore. You see, that's the sort of fun things that you run into. But now, wait, but now it's rotating around that again. Oh no, the reason why it doesn't move anymore is just because I was right originally, but I don't transform the movement vector. That's the problem. Because the movement has to be relative to the something.
That's amazing.
So anyways, just leave it like that right now. This is more like a logic of the eye position. If I press forward, it should move into the view direction, right? But I'm just making it change the XYZ coordinates right now. That's why it's kind of weird. But yeah, this needs clipping because right now it just doesn't into clipping. And but you can get them to all overlap each other like they are a happy family. Looks like absolutely nothing. Now, the really interesting thing about this is that I can actually use all these HAL calls, and I also have a PC version of all of these. So I can actually look, it's the PC HAL. It does the exact same thing as the real P2 version, but it does it on the PC. Because this is completely unoptimized, it's just some C code, it can do that. Yeah. Anyways, have to add clipping to this, otherwise it will turn into soup. When you
So you're not getting any double pixel rates, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point of the translucent rendering. I think I was seeing something weird at some point, but it stopped, so I don't know. I can't couldn't reproduce that, so maybe it was just a fluke or something. Right now it's all very stable. And just
It looks great. Is this like 320 by 240 mode or something?
Yeah, this is 320 by 240. Yeah, it currently doesn't even properly remove the back faces. It actually just the algorithm as I wrote it just doesn't draw them. So I'd actually have to write special code if I wanted to draw the back faces. And that same code would also reject the back faces properly, of course. So the facingness of a face is basically defined by which way the vertices are. Are they going clockwise or counterclockwise? Sort of the order in which they are defined. And that determines whether it's the front or back. And you can actually calculate that just from the coordinates if you do a bunch of like a bunch of wedge products between them. It's like subtract and multiply thing. For triangle, I think you just need 2, and for a quad you need 3, and so on. You just kind of go through all the points, and then you get the signed area. And signed area really just means the area, and the sign tells you which way it's pointing. Obnoxiously, you have to do that after projecting to the screen, which also means after clipping. Because projecting to the screen requires clipping before it, because if you don't clip, something that has z equals 0 will just explode off into infinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is not very becoming. And we need to do the frustum clipping first. I have to figure out how to most efficiently do the frustum clip. Which is, how would you do that? It's kind of, I think most of the explanations that I've seen of it, there's something wrong about them. It just feels too complicated.
Yeah, I remember looking in books that would do like cube rotations on the screen, and it wasn't that complicated, but it might have been kind of a simplification where a lot of the potential was taken away for, where something might show up.
No, what my thought is they usually show it, you do one clip plane at a time. But that's kind of weird, because then you need to have multiple temporary buffers for the vertices. And you might create very strange in-between vertices. I think you can do them all at once. I think. And I think you also don't need a near plane necessarily. And the far plane is always optional. So you maybe only need the 4 side planes that correspond to the edges of the screen. Right, because these are like planes, right? They like come out
Right.
from the point of the camera. That's where they all intersect. And then they sort of form this pyramid inside them. And inside that pyramid is all the things that can be seen, and outside of the pyramid is all the things that can't be seen. And this, so basically the way that you'd do clipping is you'd first check if each vertex is outside any of these planes, which is some sort of, which if you're in the correct view space, then you could actually do that with just a single compare check. Right, if you're in clip space, clip view space, right, then this is -1, this is +1, right? And if you divide 1 by 1, it equals 1, right? If you divide 2 by 2, it equals 1 again. So you just have to check if the coordinate is greater than a z value. So if x and y are greater than z. That makes sense, hopefully, in terms of magnitude.
Yeah.
And then you know if the point is inside or outside. Now, if you get something where all the points are outside, not actually where all the points are outside, where all the points share a plane that they're outside of, then that's trash and it can be thrown away. And otherwise, you have to do the complicated thing. Of course, if all of them are inside of the planes, then you can skip the complicated thing because it's not necessary. But there's a case where all of them are outside, but you can still see it. Like imagine a triangle, and one of the points is like over here, one of the points is over here, and one of the points is all the way up here. Now, if you do that, all of the points are outside the screen, but you'd still have this sort of area that needs to be filled in, right?
Right.
And that has its own like 6 vertices. So even though you originally started with a triangle, it turned into a 6-sided shape. And that's really where a lot of the complexity kind of comes from.
Did you build all these shapes out of triangles?
No, this cube is built out of quadrangles.
Okay. And then what about, it looks like that, jewel looking thing.
I think that's a something.
That looks
It's
like
certainly a shape.
that looks like triangles.
Yeah, that's made out of triangles. And of course the pyramid is made of a triangle and
And one
square at the base. Quadrangle. Yeah, quadrangle is a funny word, but it's a real word. You can't say I can't use it. As you can see, there is in fact a thing at the bottom there. Position the view at the right spot. And I think I see some missing pixels up there, right? Or am I just going insane? It's like the dithering on the background. I'm not sure anymore. Maybe I'll have to investigate this. Maybe I'll have to work further on this, but right now I don't have the thing for that. I don't know. Well, I just added the thing to it while we were talking, so maybe I do have it.
Well, that looks really promising. Gosh, if we could have a little library to do that, it would be really nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably just take a lot of what I've just here written, maybe make it better. The thing is that it uses 32 bits in too many places, I think. I think the rasterizer can just work with 60 bits actually. And I think that's what they actually do in a lot of hardware implementations, a lot of old hardware implementations anyways.
I've heard 16 bits quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how big your screen is, you use 12 bits for the integer part and then use 4 bits to indicate the subposition, right?
Mm.
And that's kind of enough. And then you can make all those multiplies go a bit faster. That's for the screen coordinates anyways. The coordinates inside each model also don't need to be 32-bit really.
Do you know what a quaternion is?
That's an entity from the Hell dimension that makes the rotations better.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I wonder if that would simplify things.
No, that just makes things more complicated. The reason you'd use a quaternion is if you have an object that can freely rotate in space. Because what that can do is it can accurately track that rotation. If you try to track the rotation with roll pitch jaw kind of angles, it doesn't work because it can sort of lock itself into that into one plane with those three. But if you use the quaternion, you can actually sort of smoothly change between any rotation. It's not like there's a rotation that you can't express with the three angles. You can express any rotation with that, but they're not sort of numerically related in a way that's useful for if you keep changing the rotation.
Okay.
And that's where the quaternion comes in, which is this weird 4-dimensional entity from Hell that can sort of express the rotation in a way where you can sort of take two quaternions and just interpolate between them and have a sensible in-between step of between rotations. And also if you have something that's just like you have like some sort of spacecraft or something and it's sort of moving about, it might turn and into any direction, right? You'd want a quaternion to track where that's at because otherwise it will start having weird issues because you can't really add one Euler rotation onto another. It doesn't work. At least it doesn't work in the sensible way. Now for something simple, like if you just have like a character that walks around the world, they're always facing in a particular direction. They can only face in a direction, like in a compass direction, but they can't necessarily rotate freely in space. Well, then you only will need one angle, right? And that's how a lot of stuff kind of works, right? You just have your little man that walks around, and his legs always face downwards. He only needs to turn along one angle, also only has 1 degree of freedom there. So you just need one angle and no quaternion involved. Interestingly, those rotation matrices, I actually just wrote them like the textbook version. But something interesting about them is or wherever you rotate matrix by something, notice what this is doing, right? This is really just rotating a bunch of vectors individually. So something tells me that you could replace this with a chordic instruction.
Yeah, a chordic could do each line of that.
Actually, I think it could do each 2 lines of that.
Oh, okay, in one operation.
What was it?
Yeah, you can stuff that thing every 8 clocks with a new set of inputs. And then after some group delay, every 8 clocks start getting results back.
Yeah, you can do that. And it is all very good. And so that can be actually made very fast, that rotation. What I don't think can be made very fast is the translation here, because we don't really have a way to do these dot products fast. Like, sure, we can we have the chordic multiplier, but that doesn't really directly take signed values. That's kind of the big problem. I think we've had that one before. You can't directly take the signed value. Of course, if you were to translate by a big amount or a small amount that fits into 16 bits in some sense, you could use 16-bit multipliers, and they're kind of, in some cases, faster than using the chordic multiplier. well, you can use them always, but in the case where one of the operands is 16-bit, they can actually be faster. Because you only need 2 of them. And then you have to sort of put the results back together.
Probably takes some practice. You have to study this, understand the idea, and then contemplate it for a while before your brain is comfortable with thinking about it.
So there's a lot of things that can be theoretically done with such a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just a draw model function here. Perhaps interesting. It gets a bunch of buffers here. Then it does transformation and projection for each of the vertices. And then it draws all of the faces of those vertices. How nice. And it defines something like this. So that's all the vertices. And that's all the faces. Bunch of triangles, as we can see by the freeze here. Yeah, again, need to add clipping to this and then figure out texture mapping properly.
Right.
And then we can build some sort of silly demos with it.
Well, it looks promising. Well, let's see. We've been going here 3 hours. I'm tired today because I only wound up getting 4 hours of sleep
Yeah,
last
I'm kind of tired as well. We're doing like fasting. So we're doing no sugars, no carbs. So been at that for like 1.5 weeks now.
Oh, yeah. How do you feel? Tired?
A bit, yeah. You can't. It's actually been interfering with another thing I've been trying to do, which is I'm trying to get better at drawing. So I thought to myself, well, I'm always awake in the night and sort of looking at my phone or something. Well, that's kind of stupid. Why not take like the notepad and draw something? And get better every day. Now, except this now has interfered with that, and now I can't do anything because I'm always tired. I just want to actually sleep.
So is it because your body needs to kind of get used to processing or kind of getting its energy from maybe not carbs, but more
Yeah, from
stored
like
energy and
fats.
fat and
Yeah, it's just food's all very fatty.
yeah.
Lots of meat and vegetables, as it were. Just
That's
protein, fats, and like whatever the fuck comes out of vegetables.
well, is that what you're eating now?
Yeah, for the rest of the week still. Then we're good. We did this last year and it was kind of funny. And that sort of leads you to making interesting dishes like pizza soup.
Oh,
You ever
weird.
eat pizza soup? It's like tomato soup, but you put like mushrooms and salami into it.
Interesting. That sounds kind of good.
Yeah, it kind of is.
You can eat cheese, I take it then.
Yeah, cheese is allowed. What else is allowed? Little bits of like high percentage chocolate as well. We're doing that.
How about
Just need some-
lebercase?
What? Leberkäse.
Leber- What
That
does
would
that have?
probably be allowed. Yeah, because it's meat, right?
Right.
It's not actually cheese, as the name would imply.
What's the German word for cheese?
Käse. And Leberkäse is just the slang dialect version. It where the E just sort of gets dropped.
Oh, casa is cheese.
Many funny birds.
Yeah.
There's something known as Handkäse, which is apparently cheese that you can take in your hand, but maybe not. I don't. Have I ever seen one eat one from their hand? I don't know.
Why does it melt or fall apart?
No, I don't think I've ever seen it happen, I think. There also exists something called Handkäse mit Musik, which really means hand cheese with music.
Huh.
It does not involve any notes, though. I think it's just like some like I don't even know what it is you put on there. I'm just saying things about things that I think are funny. I have to check what it was. I think it was like Essig or something. Yeah, it is. Oh God, what does Essig mean?
The word what?
Vinegar. That's it. So you put vinegar on your little hand cheese, and then it's hand cheese with music.
Oh.
I don't think you eat that out of your hand at all. Your hand's gonna smell like salad. Because you know what's nice about vinegar, especially if you have like high concentration vinegar. You know how when you have some sort of device, you just leave it laying around and there's batteries inside? You know what happens to those batteries, right?
If what?
If you have some sort of device just laying around, you're not using it, but there's batteries
Oh yeah, the
inside.
battery's kind of like barf.
Yeah, they turn into this weird white goop. And what you can do with that is you can just put vinegar on there.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and it just destroys that stuff. There's a
I
sort of
was
chemical reaction that
cleaning
happens there.
my car battery post with baking soda, and that seemed to do a better job than vinegar.
Well, that's something different. That's just the corrosion on the thing, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
mean, that's
rusting or
kind of
something.
caustic a little bit, but
No, vinegar is really good for the white stuff that comes out of the alkalines.
okay.
Yeah, it gets right rid of it. The only downside is that your Discman or whatever you do that to then ends up smelling of salad.
Just for a while.
Yeah, I actually have one upstairs that I sort of fixed. It needs a little bit of one of the battery terminals was too rusted up, so it just broke off, and I had to put like a bit of chewing gum wrapper in there. But works good. Even has like shock protection. What a nice thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of silly, right? It's actually a lot larger than like an MP3 player. But it spins the thing inside, so you know. What do I know? The fact that still works because it's kind of a cheap one. If this was released nowadays, it wouldn't work in 1 year probably. Because whatever the shitty lithium cell they put in, that kicks the bucket, and then you have to find like the exact same shape and size and voltage and whatever lithium cell somewhere. If you can
Right.
even get the thing taken apart to that point, we can move that.
Have you seen those new nuclear batteries?
I've like vaguely heard that something like that exists.
Yeah, they're small.
Do they have like some sort of miniature RTG in there or something? That sounds safe and
I don't, it's like a sandwich. It's like some kinds of materials that are sandwiched together in a stack. And they have like a 50-year life, and they output, here we go. Let's see. It's kind of hard to get a handle on exactly. So let's see, it says here, it's a 3-volt battery. Oh, they're like maybe 4 by 4 millimeters. They're tiny. Maybe they're like bigger than that. There's a 5 yuan coin. Yeah, they're maybe like, maybe they're 1.5, but maybe 15 by 15 millimeters. Let's see here. Yeah, so it can deliver 100 microwatts of power at 3 volts. So the current on that would be
Microwatts is not a lot.
P equals IE. So 100 microwatts equals IE. So 100, so it'd be 0.0001 divided by 3. So I guess that's 33 microamps for 50 years. Yeah, it's 15 by 15, and then even by 15 cubic millimeters. So so that can like kind of keep an LED visibly lit for 50 years.
Well, what do you say? 330 microwatts?
Well, it's 100 microwatts.
100 microwatts, right?
At 3 volts.
At 3 volts, right? Amps or volts? Now I'm confused.
It's like 33 microamps at 3 volts.
Well, no, that would be more than that. But if you're charitable and say it's
no, that'd be right.
300, then it's actually 0.3 milliamps. At least according to the helpful ability of the format converter that for some reason is in my operating system.
Well, let's see, P equals IE, right? So we want to know what the current is. So P divided by E would equal I. So P is 0.000. Oh, you're right. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's 0.0001. That's 100 microwatts.
I think the problem is just the scale between micro and milli. I think it's confusing.
It's 33 micro amps at 3 volts.
33 microamps? So that's not a lot.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But
It's
wonder
not
how
much,
that works.
but it'll do it.
If they call it nuclear, is there actually some sort of like plutonium in there?
Well, they're atomic energy batteries. So nuclear might be a little, no, it says nuclear battery.
Like, do they actually sell these, or are they like?
Well, yeah,
violently
but
unsafe?
they do, but it's good for minus 60 C to 120 C.
Well,
So
that's
it
good.
says it's absolutely safe, has no external radiation. It's good
Yeah,
for,
no external radiation is good, but what if you break it in half?
yeah.
Because that's the real issue, right? If you can shield off the radiation, but you can't really make
Well,
it
it
go
says,
away if it. And if they say no external radiation, that implies that there's internal radiation.
says after the decay period, the 63 isotopes turn into a stable isotope of copper, which is non-radioactive and does not pose any threat or pollution to the environment. So I wonder if it winds up as copper, what does it start as?
Something higher than copper, I'd assume.
Yeah,
Because that's
right. Would it
that's
have
something
to
that
be like
happened one of these, because
new
the
coppers?
so the Russians had like RTG generators for the like radio or something. And as it inexplicably turned out at some point, I think after the Soviet Union collapsed, they kind of forgot about a lot of these RTGs that were just in the wild
yeah,
somewhere.
and they were just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but they were posing radiation hazard to
Yes.
anyone who found one.
Yeah, there were some like guys who like were just walking through the forest for some reason. They were like really cold,
Yeah,
But
some
then
hunters
they
found one. And,
found this like conspicuous spot with no snow, and there's this weird canister in the middle.
yeah, yeah, I remember reading. Yeah, those guys they all died, I think,
Yeah, I think they didn't
because
didn't end well.
they got radiation burns just by being near it. I saw a video where they had located one of those things and they were picking it up, and they picked it up with this big pole, and the guys like they'd swap guys out so nobody would get dosed too high with this. And a couple guys would like put the pole through it and hook it, and they'd run away. Then some other guys would run in, pick up the pole, run so far, set it down. Two other guys would come in, pick up the pole, run with it for a while until they could put it into some kind of lead container in the back of a big truck, and then they would drive it away.
Very funny, but also very dangerous.
Right. So copper is 29 AMU, so about 59 and a half. What would that be? Let's see. I don't know. Maybe hafnium 72, lanthanum is 57. Copper is only 29. No. It's the 29th element. It's 63 AMU, 63.5. So it's 127, right? So what starts out at 127? Oh, tellurium? It looks like it might come from tellurium. 60, 59.
But wait, if there's radiation coming out, it's not just half, right?
Oh wait, hold on. It's not now.
Because you'd have the alpha particles that come out of it. We assume it's alpha radiation because otherwise they couldn't make it small, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like for little, what's the name for these things? Well, it's 2 protons and 2 neutrons. So anyway, it's sort of an alpha particle. Or is it normally 3?
Would that be
what's the mass of these alphas?
2 protons and 2 neutrons would be 4 on, would that be beryllium? Or no, the number is the number of protons, right?
No, it's the charge. The mass is all of them together. And the number in the periodic table is the number of protons.
Yeah. Yeah, so 2 would be a helium. So maybe it would be, I forget what isotopes of helium are named. Is there one called tritium?
No, that's just another hydrogen.
Hydrogen?
I think the helium ones are just called helium number.
Tritium and deuterium?
Yeah, deuterium is also hydrogen. That's the only
Yeah.
one that has a special name, I think. The other one just get a number.
So tritium. Oh yeah, it's 3 hydrogen. Hydrogen atom that has 2 neutrons and 1 proton. So what has 2 of each?
That's helium-4 then.
Okay.
And that's what normally the alpha particles would be.
Yeah. So
Well, I guess maybe they do use beta radiation. Maybe they sort of can capture the electrons that come out of that.
yeah.
Who knows what kind of thing they're cooking, and maybe they have got it patented or something.
Yeah. So helium is typically 2 protons, 2 neutrons. Yeah, helium-4. So that's the most common kind of helium found. Helium is one of the most like common things in space, but it's one of the most rare things on Earth.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It's very interesting how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's because it just kind of escapes out, right? If you don't put it into a bottle, it just kind of floats away and
Yeah, I was reading that it's
gone.
typically mined from underground deposits and then also from certain rocks that will yield it.
Yeah, very interesting process that they use to be able to make balloons. I don't know what else they do with all that.
I
helium.
understand a lot of gases are just pulled from the air. Like they'll just pull in atmospheric air and run it through a series of centrifuges and then separate them at points to get out certain narrow band weight ranges, which represent,
Yeah,
various
there's a lot of
gases.
stuff that just kind of happens in the air, right?
Yeah, I suppose there's some helium in the air too.
No, it all floats to the top.
Some
And
things, some noble gases will create bonds that are not really that strong. Like I remember on our fib machine, there was a process gas you could use called xenon difluoride. And so fluoride is really electronegative, right? So it's reactive. And then xenon's a noble gas, but somehow xenon would like kind of in a weak bond hold on to 2 fluorides at a time.
well, maybe they sort of pulled some electrons out of that, and but there's some missing in the whole system.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I think a noble gas though is kind of self-satisfied, but I think it was a very weak. I
Well,
think the
not if it's
point was,
ionized, right?
yeah, well, I think the idea was that you breathe this gas out near the work site and then it gets ablated with the gallium beam, and then the xenon just kind of like flashes away, but then the fluoride is left as a really strong etchant. So it's good for like boring holes and things, in boring holes in chips and whatnot. You can make nice, like high profile holes that don't close. They can go very deep. Xenon difluoride. And it's funny, gravity is like the weakest of all the atomic forces, if I recall. Yet it obviously has like formative, it's very formative throughout space. It's what gathers planets and clusters of things and solar systems, but it's the weakest of the forces. Yet to us, you'd suppose it might be the strongest. It's kind of like operator precedence in an equation.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you see like strong atomic force or something? You never see that, right? But like
No, that's like a nuclear bomb or something.
your pot falls to the ground and then your feet hurts. You see that every day.
That what? Oh,
Your pot falls on the floor and then your feet hurts because it fell on your feet.
so the strong forces were keeping the pot together. Well, those were even like not quite, but then the weak force of gravity is what slammed it into your foot.
Exactly. And
Yes.
technically slammed the earth into the pot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No one likes to think about that because the earth is very big, very heavy.
Nuclear batteries. places nickel 63 isotopes. Nickel 63, and then copper. Okay, so copper's 29.6 times 2 would be 59, so somehow that, what was the material of this? The nickel must break down into copper. Oh, well, it's those extra neutrons and protons that are generating the energy then, right?
Possibly. I'm not entirely sure how you'd actually extract energy from that. Well, they sure figured it out.
Wait, say that again?
Well, they sure figured it out.
Wait, what?
Well, they sure figured it out.
Oh, yeah, they did. Sorry.
So sometimes I
Yeah,
have
they've
to
got
say
it worked
things
out.
too.
Huh. Yeah, the battery works by converting the energy released by decaying isotopes into electricity.
Again, maybe it's beta radiation, but that seems harder to shield from going outside.
You mean like gamma radiation?
Well, can't really shield that without like thick lead, so probably not.
Right.
Like that's the real crazy stuff. They still have that hot sludge of thing in the basement of Chernobyl. They call it the elephant's foot.
Oh, I saw that. Yes. That big blob of, I suppose, uranium.
Everything melted together, which is kind of
Yeah.
whatever it came in contact with, it sort of melted down from the reactor core.
Yep. So this company, they plan on by 2025, this year, they expect to produce a 1-watt battery. Imagine 1 watt for 50 years.
Yeah,
How
that's
many
pretty
kilowatt
good.
hours? We should figure out how
That
many
would
kilowatt
keep the
hours.
clock on your VCR from going off.
50 years times 365 times 24 is 438,000 watt hours.
That's pretty good.
So I guess it'd be 438 kilowatt hours.
Well, those would have to be pretty expensive though, right? If they have that much energy in them.
Yeah. Yeah, did I do that right? 365 times
Of
50.
course, you always have to be careful when they say next year it's gonna be something. It's gonna be the most amazing thing. Just wait till next year. A lot of the time, that's just trying to pump like some sort of stock.
Right.
Like everyone thinks, "Oh, I'm getting in early on this amazing company," but then they don't actually do that, and everyone loses money.
Well, yeah. Maybe they should say rather than 438,000 watt hours, they could say like 438 million milliamp hours. Because most batteries are, well, small things are usually rated in milliamp hours.
Yeah, they usually are. I think they have like, well, at this point, it's progressing to full amp hours, where it's just like 50,000 milliamp hours or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw a video where they were testing some of these handheld PC things, right? You know what a Steam Deck is?
No.
It's like a handheld PC thing where it has like the game controls on the side, but it plays like the computer games. And so they came out with a new model, but then there was also like a competitor from Asus or something that they were testing against it. So testing the old model, the new model, and the competitor one from Asus. So the interesting thing is that the Asus machine has like on paper much better specifications, but then they actually tested the performance and it was actually worse somehow.
Ah,
Yeah,
wonder
it draws
how.
more power, so it actually lasts less time because the battery is small. Very interesting. It does win out if you plug it into the wall. Then it will go into like its 30-watt performance mode or something like that, but which it can't do on the battery because it would explode or something. And then the performance is better, but why would you use a portable PC with it plugged into the wall? That's kind of silly, right?
Right.
That's kind of interesting in the sense that better isn't necessarily better, right?
Right. Right.
Because probably having like a bigger CPU probably just draws more power always, right?
Yep.
Even if it's just running at a slow speed.
Right.
So if you have a small CPU and run it at perhaps slightly higher speed to get the same power, you get actually getting more out of it probably.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since multi-threading is like the devil's lettuce, no one has figured it out. So a lot of stuff probably only goes hard on like one or two of the CPU cores, and the other ones is kind of chilling along.
Yeah.
Maybe they can like load data or something like that, but maybe that's where the OS background noise goes. But on those actual original Steam decks, they actually use a Linux operating system, so that's like customized, so they don't actually have that much background noise, which is very interesting. Because that has actually led to a lot better support for Linux and other software, just because they put it on that little handheld thing. And now all the games sort of, everyone complains when they don't support the Linux because they all bought these little handhelds. And so the Linux support has been getting very good.
Wow. Oh man. All right, we ready to get off this thing?
Yeah. I should probably get to bed early. No time for marathons. Well, I guess
Well,
see
what
you
time is
next
it for
month.
you? It's like 1:30 in the morning, right?
No, it's just 30. 0:30.
Oh, okay.
Maybe isn't the like daylight saving time happening at
Oh
some
yeah,
point?
that just kicked in here, so
I don't know when we do that.
3 to 4 hours.
I don't, it doesn't say it in the calendar. Maybe I don't think I have that enabled. Let's check. 31st of March, so that's still a few days off.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's all fine. Yeah, funny rotating shape in front of a funny picture that I took like 2 years ago or something. I really need to get more funny pictures.
Ah. All right. I'm gonna probably try to sleep a little bit. I got to work with Steve in Morocco tonight on this rewrite of the compiler for TypeScript. That's in 4 more hours, and I am like wiped out.
Oh, that's it, probably a lot of work.
We've got about 13,000 lines written now, and we're probably about.
Are they 13,000 good lines or 13,000 horrible lines?
No, they're good. It's just TypeScript takes there's a lot more to do to make it go. I mean, I was thinking, gosh, this could be so much simpler, but it's so heavily scoped and everything that, you know, if you want to pull like a value of a bytecode out, you got to go to the proper enumeration and then dot whatever, and it's just all these
Oh yeah,
like,
that's obnoxious where you have to where you define enumeration, but you can't sort of say I want to use that enumeration directly. You always have to prefix it, and then you of course give it a really long name because it needs a really long name. And then it's
everything.
all horrible.
Yeah, everything is prefixed. Even things within your local object have to start with this period.
Oh yeah, do they? I don't know what goes on with TypeScript. Yeah, in JavaScript you'd have to do that. So in TypeScript you probably have to do that as well.
Yeah, it's like a
Horrid
type.
and strange. Also, if
Yeah,
you're rewriting the compiler, then you kind of have the issue because sort of implicitly defined is that all the constant values are 32 bits, right? So if they are not, so you always have, but all the TypeScript values, the doubles, right? So you now have this very fun issue where you have to make sure that all the results are the same, right?
hmm
Please do not change the definition of what like the constant division does, because then a lot of very random issues will crop up if someone starts using that.
right. Yes, the modern world is complicated, and
Actually, like I think it's just languages sometimes have like dubious design, and anything derived from JavaScript, of course, is dubious. Actually, I have some very interesting stuff that I can do with my favorite stupid script language is actually Ruby. I can do some very interesting things that it can do. Well, the thing where if you want to access something within your object, that's actually just an add. You might like add the variable name and then you get it. You can use this, but only if that property is something that's externally visible. And what that actually is it's a method call. So if you just type something like this.x, what that actually is, it's actually a method called x that returns at x from within inside the object. So you can actually make it return anything that you want. And if you say x equals something, there's actually a special method called x equals. You can use to set the thing. That's very interesting because if you have something where you maybe have to set some value every time x changes, you can just do that instead of having to either use a function call that's explicit or having to have the user of that object recalculate that value. The other thing is that you can add new methods to things that the system defines. So if I wanted to add some sort of property to, actually I have one here that I've got to open. That's not a new property, but that's also stupid. So there's actually a bug in some versions of the interpreter that I figured out, which is that if you try to take the cube root of 0, it sometimes returns nan on some machines. That's fixed in all the newer versions, but you can actually just fix it yourself using something like this.
Hey, that reminds me of something. Have you heard of this? There's this AI thing called Devon that these guys created. Have you heard of this thing?
I've literally only seen like a meme. They created something called Devon, and then they've seen a screenshot where someone said "fuck you, Devon," because they gave it a name, so you can say "fuck you."
Yeah, well,
like that coworker no one likes.
They very much personify. They like in all their demos after Devon does something, they go, "Thanks, Devon." But anyway, it's like this virtual programmer, and you can say, I think there's a bug in this one bit of code. And it'll they did this demo where there was a problem where there was on some log, it was getting it was returning some nonsensical value on some log divided by something else. So the guy asked Devin, he explained what the problem was just in English and said, can you fix it? So Devin goes out to GitHub, gets the repository, looks at it, and runs it until he sees the bug, until it sees the bug. And then, but what he did is Devin was putting in log statements to like monitor the execution of the app. And then it homed in on where the problem was and then fixed the problem and then took all of its log statements out and then put it back in the repository.
Huh, that seems awfully complex. Does that
Yeah.
actually work, or did they just stage a demo? That's always what you have to ask. Always
Well,
remember the stocks getting pumped or whatever they do.
oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless they were lying, it did all that stuff. And what they have is like this code editor and a shell that you can watch Devin do all of its stuff. And so you can kind of watch what it's thinking, right? You can see it's all the steps it chooses to make and then what it accomplishes. It's just really bizarre. Someone left a comment. They're like, okay, well, now what are programmers going to do? And then someone said, well, everyone's racing to hurry up to figure out how they can make money off of AI, but the reality is maybe hardly anybody will at all, right? It's like
Yeah,
talk about a race to the
I've
bottom.
always thought about this. They pay a lot of money to develop these self-driving taxis, right? Do
Right.
they ever expect to make more money with that than they would have if they just ran a normal taxi company, right?
Yeah, it's weird because it's
like there's a sort of price pressure there. If you don't have to pay a guy to sit in the car, then you have to charge less for the ride, right?
right.
So you're actually making more money. You're just doing actually nothing.
Well,
Except, well, endangers people by
they seem
having
they
your
seem
weird
to
robot
sell
car
it to
run them over.
investors. They get people to put money into it. I don't know. To me, it's all weird. It's like if we
I
don't,
don't know. It's like the money pit.
yeah.
I think
Well,
one of those guys, one of those self-driving taxi companies got the license pulled at some point because they ran someone over. Very funny. It's like you spend so much money and then the obvious thing that's gonna happen happens, and
yeah.
now what? Now you gotta
Yeah.
convince them that it's safe again.
It's strange. It's hard to say where all that's heading. I wonder if I'd like to think that I don't know that some sort of like chink in the armor would be detected, but who knows? Maybe it'll just keep getting around those, registered deficiencies and just keep progressing. And it's just weird. It's hard to contemplate where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. At some point I stopped thinking about it too hard because it just makes me annoyed.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like shorting your brain to ground or something.
Yeah, it's like
I
just
can't
do
play
what
chess.
makes you happy. That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's like if you always take the shortest path, you never see anything interesting.
Right. Yep.
And seeing the interesting thing is what's actually valuable, right?
I think so.
Like the thing you get out at the end is just a trophy.
Right.
It's like if anyone can do it, it's just a participation trophy, right?
Right.
Oh no, I participated in whatever elementary sports competition. Oh yes, I'm so good. If you keep that trophy and you're like 40. Back in the day, I participated in the sports competition.
I know. I
That's
was thinking last night about the probability of Hollywood people getting older and then like sitting in front of a big screen and watching their old movies. It's like it'd be like kind of a drug or something, not a good one.
I don't
And
know.
time goes and life moves on, and
Yeah, no, the
It's-
movie stays the same unless it's Star Wars, in which case weird
yeah.
CGI gets added.
right. Yeah,
Actually, they keep re-releasing movies with like where they try. I haven't really listened to that a lot, but apparently some people are complaining for arguably relevant reason, which is that so they take movie, they want to release like a 4K version, but the movie is kind of not that, they don't have that quality of film. So what they do is they put this awful scaling filter on it, and then they call it, like, oh, it's the movie in 4K. It looks super smooth and like everything is made out of plastic, but it's
Oh.
super high resolution. We smoothed all the detail away because they tried to remove like the film grain, but it
Yep.
removed all the actual detail.
Yeah.
So it's like so like the edges are all very sharp, but there's no detail left.
I've seen AI do that kind of stuff, and it actually goes, okay, this is a woman's face, and then it will like not upscale the data that's there, but like
Yeah, then we'll just yesify it. Yeah, that's
well, no, it
that-
like reimagines what it could be if it were
yeah,
like a
that's what
real
I mean. It
person.
yesifies it, which because there's a lot of pictures with like too much makeup on them, and that's so it like turns everything into yes, queen. I maybe you don't get the joke.
Yes, queen. You know, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And sometimes the cameras do this when you just take the photo like this. Like the smartphone camera peaked like 10 years ago or something. That's when they started adding like the second wide angle camera because they couldn't make the main camera any better.
Oh yeah.
And ever since they just put even increasingly stupid algorithms on the camera. Like there was this whole thing where someone like Samsung was advertising their like 100x space zoom where you can take pictures of the moon with your phone, which is like, oh, that's crazy. But what actually happens is it's sort of, if there's like a white blob that kind of looks like the moon in the picture, it just pastes a JPEG of the moon over it. Or something to that extent. But you can like, but some guy found this out. He put a blurry picture of the moon on his like PC screen, then he took a photo of that with his phone. And then for some reason the picture on the phone was super high resolution. Like that's like it's funny, but it's also not funny because like if you take a photo, don't you like expect it to reflect reality to some extent?
Right.
Like why do these people get to enable all these strange filters by default? Like that's not very nice.
No.
And that like affects a lot of pictures, and some of them just look awful. Like someone put I'm in some funny chat rooms, and some guy posted a picture of one of these plushies, not this one, the witch one with the hat. It's like black felt or whatever they have on there, and I think it was a Google phone or something, but it has some sort of horrible and awful local contrast algorithm or something going. So all the interiors of that black area get super contrast boosted. Looks like it's made out of sandpaper or something. Like it was ages ago, so I can't probably find it, but it's like actually horrible and doesn't look like it had at all in real life. But because there was like a black area with a little bit of contrast, it thought, oh, we got to boost the contrast to make it seem like it's more detailed. And then that happens. And that's not even like an uncommon photo subject. There's probably lots of ones that are like that. So like maybe they should be put a button there to turn that on if you want it for some reason. But like don't put it on every picture by default. That's kind of weird. I mean, even the sort of relatively, I have an LG phone that's like a million years old that only does relatively basic like sharpening and stuff. Even that's kind of too much, I think, because it just looks like ass. If you zoom in, all the attempts to add more detail just look like ours.
Yeah.
Like the picture is not that sharp. It just is naturally soft because it's such a tiny camera. Just leave it be. If you're not zooming into the picture, you're not seeing the difference anyways. And if you're zooming in, it just looks awful. What's the point?
Right.
It's like I can run like a raw therapy here on my PC, and even that has sharpening turned on by default, but you can turn it off. And luckily the phone does shoot RAWs. If you go into a special mode, it shoots RAWs. I can actually show what that looks like maybe, because that's kind of interesting. You can see all the filters happening in real time. But oh no, actually I can't because, oh God. So the
No
hard
worries.
drive that I used to store my stuff sort of kind of died. I know, just stopped showing up in the Explorer. I do have a relatively recent backup, but I'm too lazy to order a new one to put the backup back onto. So now I'm just kind of, I'd have to dig for a file, because I also have to back up to another thing, to a network drive, but I'd have to find the DNG file on one of those that's doesn't contain anything strange. Not that they're that strange, but more like, you know. Well, no, you don't know, because it's very vague what I've been saying. DNG files. Anyways, if you develop them, it turns into something that where you can have the sort of naturally soft nature of the phone camera without it being so terribly processed. I have to find one, but I can't find any.
Well,
Here's
later,
one
I should
that's,
get going. I'm like tired and I gotta be back on a job. And
yeah, I know.
I'll
if
get
it's
next
interesting.
week or next month. I'll have one of these memory cards.
Oh yes, I mean you saw what we did. You could maybe try it yourself with the new card.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this shell window open. So
I mean, actually, I can show you how to set it up so that if you restart the PC, it will set that automatically. What you'd have to do is go into the search and type environment variables.
Hold on here. Like editing the system environment variables.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing when we're resetting the path, right? But if we set it on the thing, the problem is that it only applies that setting when you restart the computer.
Yeah, well, that's okay. So let's see, system properties, computer name, hardware, advanced, system protection, and remote.
I think it's under advanced or something. I can't show it.
Okay, and then there's performance, user profiles, startup, and recovery. It's in startup. Oh, and then there's another button for environment variables.
Yes, exactly. It's like 3 buttons deep. They don't want you to find this, even though it's actually quite important.
So then there's new, edit, and delete for there's my variables, and then there's the system variables.
You have to find path either in user or system.
Okay, path.
And then you just have to add, in this case, it's a semicolon, and then you have to add the bin folder that we from FlexProp in there into the list.
Oh, well, I can get in there. Okay, I can remember that part.
Well, if you put it in there, it will automatically add it into the path.
Okay, well, let's see. I see the path here. So it's program files, blah, 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 blah.
You have to go to the end. It's a list with semicolons in it.
Okay, semicolon, yeah. So it's going to be semicolon, /chip, right?
Yeah, //
parallax. Oh, wait, what did I do? I hit enter accidentally. Oh, wait, let me edit it again. Oh, okay, it's left off. So, okay, parallax, and then mega
FlexProp and then bin.
Oh, Oh, flex prop. Okay, hold on. Flex prop, and then /bin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay, here we go. Boom. Okay, saved. All right, let's get off this thing. Ah!
Yeah.
All right, rest of you guys. Thanks for coming today.
Mm-hmm. Good
And
rest. Good
and
rest.
thanks for sharing all that stuff, Ada. That graphic stuff's looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll talk to you a little later.
Yeah, maybe when you find the SD card, we'll see if something happens.
Yeah, I might try to contact you about that. We'll see. It should be here in a few days. I didn't look, but shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
Yep. All right, well, take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.